This is your home for every Patriots game.
Look into the end zone, trying to keep the play alive. Falling down, he throws to the end zone. It's got it! Touchdown!
WBZ-FM and HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
It was a night to remember for both Peyton Pritchard and Derek White as the Celtics outscored Portland at TD Garden last night, 128-118. Pritchard made 10 threes and scored a career-high 43 points, while White added 9 makes from distance while scoring a career-high 41 in the win.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. It's just fun to watch. Just works his tail off, and he's been big for us all year. But when you have nights like this, it's fun to watch, and I'm glad I could be his running mate.
This all happened on a night when Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, and Drew Holiday all didn't play. It's the first time in Celtics history they've had a pair of players score 40 or more in the same game. They host Philadelphia tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 over on 105.7 WROR. Bruins had last night off. They visit Carolina this evening. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. In NFL news, the LA Chargers yesterday released 29-year-old pass rusher Joey Bosa. Also, Seattle wideout DK Metcalf has reportedly asked the team to trade him, and Max Crosby has signed a 3-year, $106.5 million contract extension. And the Red Sox scored a 4-2 preseason win over Tampa Bay and Fort Myers yesterday. Garrett Crochet threw 3 scoreless innings. He struck out 7, and he hit 100 miles an hour on the radar gun while doing it. The Sox visit Toronto in Dunedin, Florida today. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charla McAvoy, and Tuukka Rask. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Here we go. Boom. I win. Boom. Yeah. Hit somebody.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT booting up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go. Danny Rowe. Jay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are the Toucher and Hardy Show, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We're in the Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube, as we are on live every day, and then all the shows are up there. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and then if you subscribe, that makes everyone very happy. It's a very long week. Very,
Hardy and I were talking about that earlier.
Well, I think yesterday, when even my daughter said to me, how is it only Tuesday? And I go, welcome to my world. Every day, so very, very long. Long days. Very long.
yeah, it's a lot. I told Adam after the show yesterday, I'm like, it's about time I go away for a while because I'm getting sick of hearing myself talk. I don't want to hear myself talk into my headphones anymore. I'm getting bored.
I think we feel.
I'm getting very bored with what I'm saying.
When are you going away? It's not.
And it's not for long.
Yeah.
And it's I'm going, and it's with my son to spring training, and so like that's not really a vacation because that's just renting a car and driving around and entertaining a kid. So there will, and then I told you this, Adam, is that I have to, so I take a Friday and a Monday off.
right.
And then I come back to work on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I have to take the day off because my son has to be at the airport at 4:20 in the morning because his baseball team is going down to Florida to play, and I have to. They have a 6-something flight, and they all have to meet by the airline desk at 4:20 in the morning.
Good God.
And I told my ex-wife, I'm like, just I'll do it. I'm like, don't even worry about it. Like it's
I don't
easier.
even want to have the conversation about it.
Yeah.
No, but it was more like I'm used to it. Like I'm a little
that
more
makes
used to it.
sense.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm not coming into work after that. I mean, I'm not.
Why are you coming into work on Tuesday? Just take Friday
because
through Wednesday.
Because I'll
off.
tell you why. Because I think I'm through my through the year. Like most of my vacation is planned.
Sure.
So I don't want to. I don't want to just take a day to sit here in March.
Yeah,
Because I'll
That's
still
fair.
have the kids.
that's fair.
So it would be like I slept in and then went and got Zoe from school and then got Milo and like all that stuff. Like I don't want to do that. I'd rather just come into work. I don't mind coming into work other than getting up. And so it's not worth sleeping in a day. Now, maybe something will happen like last year where for unprecedentedly right before Christmas, Radzik was like, you have extra days. So I was, and so I did just kind of sit around. But I don't want to do that now. And I always fantasize that maybe something will come up and I'll have an opportunity to take a day off for something fun. But yeah, what are the chances? But 4:20 in the morning, they have to be at the airport. I know why, because I guess if you're planning like a trip like that, you got to do it like as cheap as possible, or parents are gonna get pissed off. But I would have paid, $400, $500 more bucks if I didn't have to be there at 4:20 in the morning.
See, but I don't understand your thought process of not going into work after that. To me, that's a perfect day. I might as well go to work. I'm up. I've been up. There's no way you're going to get back to sleep after that.
Oh yeah, there is. And there's I'll go right back.
He has that weird gene where he can do it. I can't. I know I'm in your boat, Hardy. There's no way in hell I'd be able to go back to work after getting up, driving, and then driving back out.
And I don't trust myself being that tired on the air. Like when I get that tired on the air, I have little, not like filter. Oh boy, I'm outrageous, but that I just don't like being on the air when I'm that tired, especially at the end. It starts off where I could say anything, and then at the end I'm dragging so bad. It's better if I'm not here. I know myself, but yeah, I'll go right home, and then I'll go right back to sleep. I'll probably sleep till like noon.
That's incredible. I wish I could do that.
In bed you can't, because I can't sleep on anything moving.
No. I can't do that either. I can't sleep on planes or trains or in cars when I'm a passenger. I can't do that either. But I know I can't get back to sleep after waking up. The process of waking up and getting out of bed and just forcing yourself.
No, I'm up. I'm dressed.
Up,
I've done something. I've driven somewhere. Now I'm up.
Yep.
I'm up. Sun's up.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Once the sun comes up, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not. Well, you can go to bed. You both take naps, and that's when the sun's out.
I think that's after having done something and been up for a while. It's part of the process. That's a little different.
My naps have gotten so short as to only be like literally a clear the brain fog reset. I'm going like 20, 30 minutes now.
Oh, wow.
That's it. That's all I'm getting. I know. And I'm not saying it's great. I might feel better and do better at everything if I were sleeping longer in the middle of the day, but that's pretty much all I'm getting right now. My naps are a function of I'm so tired I have to close my eyes here for a few minutes, and the second, I move or something wakes me up, that's it. I've kind of hit the reset button, and I just go. There's just too much time, too. There's too many other things to do, I can't lay in bed all day.
Because you got what going on?
Pickleball.
Ah, okay.
Right now, and soon, it'll be golf.
Now, will you give up pickleball when golf comes?
Oh, Fred, you don't think I've had this conversation with myself?
Crisis of conscience.
Okay, so there are days when you can't play due to courses being closed and or weather. So there's going to be a lot of forecast watching, scheduling pickleball on days where I think there's going to be rainouts on the golf course. Mondays will be a big pickleball day. Hopefully, fingers crossed, when you can't play. So that's kind of the thought process right now.
They should install a pickleball court at your club. That would make it really easy.
It's been mentioned several times. Yeah. But I think the problem is it's where it would go is too close to the condos, and the sound of the pickleball is an issue pretty much everywhere they go when you build these pickleball courts. Wasn't that the story that we did recently about on Nantucket where they're trying to ban it?
Yeah, there's a lot of places where they don't like the pickleball courts.
Yeah.
It's hoodlums.
It's got to be indoors then. You got to build another building for it.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, maybe we'll consult Fred's dad and the people down there at Tellico Village and get their contractor, and maybe, hey, just swipe the blueprints. See if we use those plans.
Sure.
Modify them for our space and.
Well, you're
footprint.
assuming they're planned. Well, my club passed and built a pickleball thing without me wanting it very quickly. They got that thing up with a separate entrance and everything else. They got that thing up in about 2 days.
Indoor or outdoor?
It's indoor.
Wow.
Yeah, they got that up in 2 days. Nice fee every month for it, even though I'll never use it in a million years.
You should.
I didn't even know where it was. And I didn't know where it was until I drove by this winter because it was lit up.
Oh.
Like I didn't, because there is another entrance. It's like not by
the hospital. It's another entrance?
No. What?
I thought you were talking about another entrance to the club. I'm sorry.
No, it is.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, it's still on the club grounds. It's not by the clubhouse, like the main, building.
Yeah.
So I would never see it. Like the pool is by the main building, and then even the tennis courts are sort of there. The which I never use, but there's a total separate entrance in a building, and I was driving by one night this winter, and I saw it all lit up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that must be the pickleball thing, that cost me, $200 a month.
Okay, I have an idea. Hear me out on this, and we're gonna have to obviously talk to the people at your club about it. You remember in Rocky when he wins the fight and he gets all this money and he buys the Trans Am, and he's already fallen on hard times in Rocky 2 almost immediately.
Right,
and he goes to Paulie. He says, "You want to take over the payments and just take the car," which I didn't understand as a kid. Now I understand what the transaction was. Let's say, since you are not utilizing that club to its fullest, what'd you play, 3-4 times last year? Twice. All right. You're not using the pickleball. Why don't you let me take over your membership? I'll just start paying the dues. I'll do the thing. I'll take you out there as my guest 2 times a year. Now, I do foresee an issue with the club where they want you off the roster and they want me to pay the new initiation fee. That's not going to happen. What we're doing is a Rocky and Paulie taking over the payments situation.
If you wanted to do that, I would do that. I would do that in 10 seconds.
Will they let us?
Well, I dropped the pool, so that saves me that amount of money.
Yeah.
And I'm not a tennis member because, you join and it's a la carte. And so, I mean, it would be a lot more affordable than it once was.
All right. Well, let me make some phone calls.
Yeah. By the way, I just, YouTube was open when not for the station, just the page YouTube was open when I got on the computer. And I take it there's probably about 300 people watching us. Guess how many people were watching the Big Bear Bald Eagle live in SKM1?
Oh, no. At this moment?
At this very moment live.
12,000.
14,000.
Good God.
Oh. And what is the...
It's a good guess, though, right?
Yeah, it was. The bald eagle is just sleeping with its face in the snow.
No.
That'd be funny if it was dead.
You ever seen one?
A bald eagle, probably. Probably in my travels.
No, I just mean, look, it would have such a majestic impact on you and your your heart would start beating a patriotic beat, I think you would have known. I mean, and other than Wallach, I'm not going to ask Wallach if he's seen one. It's just hanging out.
Well, I've seen one. He's humped one. He's seen one. He's been inside of one.
We were we were doing a golfing the world shoot in Nova Scotia, and had the drone up going off a tee. And I swear to you, the director camera guy took the drone up and was flying it when a bald eagle went by, and he decides to follow it and try and get this really cool like tracking shot of the bald eagle. I said, look, do whatever you want. I'm not sure what the ramifications would be for killing a bald eagle with your drone.
Significant.
But we are in Canada.
No, it's true.
You know, it's just, I'll stand here. Just know that if this goes poorly, I will be leaving without you. I will just call a car service and be gone out of this place before the authorities arrive. Why don't you keep your propellers away from the bald eagle, dummy?
Yeah.
I'm going to text somebody at your club right now.
Where's the damn eagle screeching?
That's one more number than I have of people in my club.
Do you go to any of like the Easter brunch or the you know?
I have. My kids don't like it there, so.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, they don't like it. They because they could go. That's why they don't like it. Because there's a minimum that I would have to spend. So maybe I'll take all of you to lunch, and then that will be on me because I have a $400 minimum that has to be used by the end of this month.
Oh.
So wear a collared shirt. That's the thing that sucks, is that you have to have like certain clothes on, which blows because it's close enough to my house that I would go there to eat just to get my minimum out of the way. But I would have to come to work in like golf shirts and everything else. I'd have to think about it in the morning. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with that crap.
That's a massive pain in the ass.
It's
It's more
such
of a pain in the ass than you would think. When you work this shift, it's so easy to just throw on the hoodie and go. You sleep until the last moment and get the clothes that are easiest to put on. And then if you have to think about it the night before, or, God forbid you wake up and you have that moment where you're like, okay, I have to pick out a collared shirt. It's the worst.
Yeah.
It is the worst feeling in the world. It sucks.
Yeah, and it's sort of
I
unnecessary.
completely understand that. Oh, yeah.
It's sort of unnecessary.
Planning your outfit the night before. I mean, for that photo shoot, you guys are talking about that. Okay, which collared shirt do I have to wear? How am I going to look? I hate that.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, speaking of the photo shoot, so we picked a photo yesterday. Where are we in the process of getting this put up?
It's being worked on. What are you saying, Nicholas?
It's being worked on?
It's being worked on, yeah.
Why
Nick's
can't you
working on it.
just...
Because there's a bunch of different because there's so many different platforms we have to update. So, and some of them we can, and some of them have to be updated by other people.
Let's start with the ones he can.
Yeah, I mean, those should be done already. Just... Here's the picture. Post it.
I mean, he got the other one up on Spotify.
Nick is not happy with John's attitude right now. He's not happy with John's attitude.
My
he's learned not to gesticulate, though, because I saw he didn't spaz out. Maybe he's still tuckered out from those not good push-ups.
He did say he was a little sore.
What do you mean not good push-ups?
You know what I mean.
I want you to bring this to the air. Go ahead.
No, those are solid push-ups. I stand behind Nick's work.
That's not where your elbows are supposed to be.
I'm not calling them solid. I would call them push-ups. Fred's very hyper-focused on the elbow situation.
Yeah, because it makes it 100 times harder. That's where it's impressive. Just going up and down with your elbows to the side aren't. And what's annoying is Hardy and I talked to Billy about it before. Look, good for Nick, and I owe Hardy $20 more. That's fine. But what's annoying about it is that, like, Billy... did the push-ups in front of Hardy and I. He goes, yeah, they're like this, and I'm like, yeah. And then I couldn't see Nick during the push-ups, and Billy just half-assed the whole thing. He couldn't even count to 20.
Yeah, why did he restart after 10?
I don't know. One of the other people here had some
I explained to you guys. Like,
no, but that's not why. It did it because he can't count because he's stupid.
That's so rude. No, I do the
Michigan,
same thing too. Like if you're doing a set, you just go to 5 or go to 10 and then reset. And it psychs you up to make you think you haven't done as many.
His job's not to psych Nick out. It's not his job's not to psych Nick.
But if
up.
that's how he counts, that's how he counts. I'm gonna
make up your mind.
I'm gonna default to Billy Jaffe, who's an actual athlete, on how this is done, and not you.
Get off the mic, stupid. That he's an athlete, so he can do push-ups.
Tell you what, I'll get off the mic. You go to break. How does that sound?
Oh, how about I never go to break?
Oh boy.
I thought that was a fair deal worked out. I thought it was as fair as our membership transfer. I think that's fair.
What?
That he gets off the mic and then you throw it to break.
Well, no, that was passive. That was not passive aggressive. That was aggressive.
Active aggressive.
Yeah, that he was like yielding some kind of power.
Oh,
nonsense. All right. Anyway, so yes, Billy didn't try. That's all. Billy didn't try. All right. When we come back, he didn't. He didn't try. All right. When we come back, not young Nicholas. We already did that. The Celtics played. They played the Red Hot Trailblazers, and it was a historic night at the Garden. We will have all that for you in just a moment. in a cape.
and Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. All right, there was the Portland Trailblazers came to town.
Yes.
Stars.
Yeah, I mean, they were 28-34 going into the game, but a decent road record, 12-20. So they, they had their,
they've been playing a lot better as of late.
They're finding something.
Yes.
Wallach.
They're going into last night. They had won 5 of their previous 6, so they were playing some good basketball.
And, they didn't identify what last night was for them, which was a trap game. I mean, you go into the Celtics, and they're hurt, man. You got Jason Tatum out with his shoulder. You got Drew Holiday out with his mallet finger. You got Kristaps Porzingis. He's sick. They're all sitting out. So who's going to step up for the Celtics on a night like that?
Pritchard. Bounce pass for Cater. Return of Pritchard out of the wing. Scoot's playing him tough.
Yes, he is.
Pritchard dribbling between his legs. Forced a tough follow-away 3, and he hits it. Man, that was crazy. Scoot Henderson just completely ate his lunch defensively, and then Pritchard stuck it anyway.
Yeah, Scoot Henderson, we were talking about him yesterday as he's playing for the Portland Trail Blazers. Was Pritchard doing it all alone last night? Oh, no.
Derek White comes from behind, knocks the ball away from Murray. Chris Murray, Jaylen Brown attack goes to the left hand awkwardly. He was out of control, no good, missed the layup. Battle for the rebound. Jordan Walsh wins it, throws a bounce pass out to Derek White, whose 3 is perfect. 8 straight for the Celtics. They lead by 2, 25-23.
It would go on like this all night with Pritchard and Derek White carrying the load for the team and setting records in the process. First NBA duo to score their first 40-point game in the same game, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for the Celtics,
yep,
the record was
first time ever they had teammates score 40 points in the same game. 2 different guys score 40 in the same game.
Okay, I heard 41 on the broadcast last night, but it was just 40 was the mark.
40 is what I was told. But,
and the crazy thing is, Derek White, who had, I think, 9 threes last night.
Yep.
And did not have the most 3-pointers made.
Nope.
And scored 41. Was not the leading scorer. As we now know, it was Peyton Pritchard who took honors in both of those categories, scoring 43 points, 10 3-pointers, as the Celtics get the win 128-118 over the Portland Trail Blazers. It was, I mean, one of those nights where you expect to see like a guy get hot, to see both guys get hot like that, and those 2 guys specifically. It just it was eye-popping to watch as it was unfolding.
So, Fred, Peyton Pritchard made 10 threes. Derek White made 9 threes. The Celtics' record for most made threes in a game is 11. Who do you think holds the record?
We did this exercise this morning, and I think I got it on my 3rd guess.
Okay,
third or 4th try, yeah.
Well, my first guess is going to be obvious, Ray Allen.
No, that was his first guess.
That was my first guess.
Okay, but it's not like a nobody. It's someone who was good.
No, it's someone that did it in the last 10 years.
Okay,
it's not a nobody, but it is.
Oh, is it Marcus Smart?
Oh, wow. Yes, it is. It's Marcus Smart.
And how many did he take?
11. I forgot to look. I have to look.
He took 55.
Yeah, Hardy said 40.
So I said Ray Allen. I said, well, it's obviously not Bird. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking. And it's my second real guess was Al Horford. And then I said, oh, Marcus Smart. Yeah. And I said the same thing. He must have been like 40.
Yeah. And then watch, I'm totally wrong, but pretty much as a rule, nothing in the 80s 3-point wise is a record.
Wow.
Like they just didn't take him that much. All right. He's got his glasses at the bridge.
Yes. It's in January of 2020, only 22 attempts.
Wow.
He was 11 of 22 that day.
Wow.
It is funny, though, looking back at highlights of games, like where at the end he would chuck up a three, and he missed like very few people can miss. I mean, he would be all alone and just chuck it off the back of the backboard, like a 15-foot rebound.
Yeah.
He was something else. But, yes, I don't doubt that he'd have the balls to take that many. He was insistent that he was going to do that.
And we were talking about that earlier, too, the Marcus Smart games where he wasn't hitting the shots, you'd tear your hair out. But on the handful of nights like that one, the record-setting night, he'd be taking the shots and they'd be going in, and you still would hold your breath while you're doing it. Like, all right, just shoot it then, I guess. I don't know. They're going in.
No, he just was so stubborn about taking a lot of threes. And even when that wasn't the style of play of the team.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it is now where they, 90% of their shots are three-pointers. He was acting kind of alone. Well, it was very frustrating to watch if you wanted the Celtics to win.
And that was the thing that bugged me the most about it. Like any possession, especially an important possession at the end of the game in a close game, like Smart would oftentimes take the ball across half court or get it on the first pass across half court, and it would never touch anyone else's hands. You've got Tatum. You've got Brown. You've got other guys out there. Why are you handling the ball for 5 seconds and then shooting it while other guys just standing around open? That's what drove me nuts about Marcus Smart.
Well, I don't think they would have won a championship with Marcus Smart. I think that was a big problem. I think that was a big problem with Tatum and Brown, because it just logically it would be. You have two guys that are superior scorers in every way, and there's a guy who's like, remember how he would act like he was the Svengali, like the elder statesman of the team, and he was like 24?
Yes.
And then,
yes.
He kind of talked down in the press about everyone. And especially Tatum at that time, because Tatum, much to my chagrin, as my prediction was wrong, was pretty obvious he was special right away. That's got to be very frustrating. You're just standing there on offense, and then the worst shooter on your team theoretically just starts. I mean,
well, he's a career 32% shooter from three.
Yeah,
smartest.
Right.
So, and that's the guy who had one night. Now, that record should have been broken multiple times. Sam Hauser, who is a good three-point shooter, had 10 in like 2 quarters and 5 minutes and sprained his ankle and had to leave. I think that was a game against Washington. He would have smashed the record. Yeah. Might even set the NBA record, which is 14, by the way. I think Jaylen Brown had a night where he had 10. I mean, it's 11, and he holds the record, but it should have been beaten by now.
Yeah. After the game, Joe Mazzulla, speaking of his dynamic duo from last night.
Yeah, I mean, even tonight it was dribble drive as well. We were able to space them and kind of use their pressure against them. And, two guys that they're really good at creating space. They're really good at catch and shoot shots off the dribble threes, but they can also create, off the dribble. So we were able to kind of spread them a little bit and get into the paint when we needed to. And both those guys were able to do that as well.
Can Peyton Pritchard create off the dribble?
Okay. Yes, he can.
Okay,
he can drive and create.
That's the first thing I thought of when I heard Mazzulla say that. Like, I'm not saying he's wrong, and Walt explained it to me, because I don't see him creating a lot of space. I see him putting up shots that I don't understand how he's getting them off, because there doesn't seem to be enough space.
The thing that Peyton Pritchard has added to his game in the last 2 years is his ability to use his body well and drive into the lane and get layups against bigger guys. I don't know how he does it, but he's able to utilize his body to create space and get
on the drives to the basket.
Yeah.
Yes, but on the threes, he doesn't. No. Like last night, he was shooting with everybody in his face.
That's the good thing. Well, in the NBA in general, everyone can close out really well, get to the perimeter and get in a guy's face. Yeah. You have to be able to make shots like that. That's not any different from Pritchard to anybody else. But the difference is now he can go by people, or at the very least keep them on his hip and kind of wall them off and make shots against guys that are bigger than him. And Pritchard's not a big guy. Most guys he takes to the basket are bigger than him. That's what he's added to his game this year. That's why he's putting up all these points.
Oh, it's fairly impressive because he's not a great athlete and he's not big, so good for him.
Well, and he was able to do it against his hometown team last night.
It's always fun playing the Blazers. Grew up going to games, watching the Blazers, so it's special to play your hometown team and to go out and get a W and play well.
Yeah.
He said on the broadcast last night, he was talking to Abby after the game, that he used to go into the Blazers game and tell his mom and dad, like, you're going to come see me. One night I'm going to be playing for this team.
And then his dad would go, all right, you'll stay up for 2 days dribbling in the basement.
That's right. Back to dribbling. Let's go. 2 basketballs.
Yeah. Peyton Pritchard is from the area in quotations. Peyton Pritchard's from his dad is making him dribble in the basement.
That video's online, by the way, for anyone who wants to look at it. Peyton Pritchard dribbling skills when he was a kid. It's quite something.
Well, all you have to do is read an article about how he grew up and what his father did. His father pulled him out of middle school so he could sit home and play basketball. Peyton Pritchard did not have a very good childhood. From at least according to what I've read from stories where he's been a contributor and his parents have been contributors, he did not. And then his father would have other basketball players come and live at the house so they could torture Peyton. And then you go, well, they won. Peyton's an NBA basketball player. And I would say, well, I don't know what kind of damage was done to him. I mean, you could be an NBA basketball player and you could be Delonte West. Being an NBA basketball player doesn't solve all your problems. I would not want that childhood. Even if you said you'd be on the Celtics and you would one day score 41 points or 43 points in a game, I would not want that childhood in any stretch of the imagination. His hands would bleed. He would make him dribble till his hands bled. It's like a Marinovich story if Marinovich ended up being a pretty good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And what's funny to me is people will go, well, he's in the NBA, it worked. Well, yeah, it worked to get him in the NBA. Let's see where Peyton Pritchard is, 10 years from now and how he's feeling about himself and how everything's going. That's what I would be interested in.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out that way, though. You don't turn into Peyton Pritchard. You don't turn into Marinovich. Sometimes you're Scott Zolak, and it's a high school game, and it's 1st and goal from the 1, and it's a quarterback keep on 4 straight plays. And when you get home, your father is waiting for you in the garage with a wrench.
Oh, really?
No, that's a true story. He's told me that one, too.
What was he going to do with the wrench?
It's what he did with the wrench. I believe he beat him to keep your legs moving. Your legs are moving now, aren't they?
Yeah, he had him practice moving his feet. Apparently, he got stuffed 3 times on a quarterback sneak from the 1, and his father four times from the 1 didn't get in. It cost his team the game, and his father was livid. Go ahead.
Got home, walked into the garage. It's dark, and his dad is standing there with like a socket wrench.
This is in high school.
Wait, did he hit him with it?
I'm pretty sure he hit him with it.
I don't know the answer to that. I know the wrench definitely existed.
I don't think Scott made it up.
I don't think he brings up the wrench if it wasn't utilized at least once.
Well, how do you hit someone with a wrench without really screwing them up?
Have you met Zoe?
Not mentally. I mean, like breaking a bone. Like that might be felony assault to hit someone with a wrench.
In the 80s, I don't know if it was.
Yeah, rules were a little different back then.
No, 80s you could spank maybe, but I don't think you could hit with wrenches.
Western PA, I'm pretty sure that was okay.
Things are different in Steel Country.
I was born in, now look, I didn't spend much time there, but I was born in Western Pennsylvania, and my parents never hit me with a wrench.
Well, how old were you when you moved?
I don't think it would have mattered, John.
Oh, okay.
But, I was 1. But, they didn't hit me when I was an infant. But I don't – and look, my dad was no sweetheart, but he didn't, physically abuse me. And he certainly wouldn't have hit me with a wrench. I'll tell you, when I was growing up, Scott's a little bit older than me, but when I was growing up, if you heard of a neighbor's kid getting hit with a wrench, I think police would have been called. Even in the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not the 1800s where they were having kids do child labor. Like, If I knew, like, if my parent, well, no, my parents wouldn't have done anything. But if they really wouldn't have, if they found out one of my friends, my friend's dad pulled a gun on me, and my parents didn't do anything. Now, he didn't pull a gun on me, like, specifically to pull a gun on me. He pulled the gun on me because my friend turned off all the lights in the house when I was having a sleepover, and I mistakenly walked in their bedroom, and he jumped on top of the bed with his shotgun, because Lord knows you need a shotgun right next to the bed. Because how else would you protect yourself against intruders? Because the chances of you shooting a family member or one of their friends are what? 1,000 times more likely than being able to get the shotgun out to blow away a intruder. I told I came home. I'm like
40 times more likely. Don't exaggerate.
Right. I don't mean to piss off. Listen, we're in very polarizing times. But I went home and I'm like, Mr. So-and-so pulled the gun. Matt's dad pulled a gun on me, and they were like, "Oh,
did you have fun?"
like oh, and then they let me. Those maniacs let me go camping with them, and I got so nervous camping with them that I came home with rashes all over my body, and they never thought any. And then the mom, because the dad at the camp. I was really thirsty, so I got up and they didn't have water because it was one of those things that you pull, like the trailers that you pull, and they didn't have water, so I walked around, and then the guy found out that I went out looking for water and started screaming and berating me, and I woke up the next morning with rashes all over my body, and I got home, and Mrs. Blank said to my mom, "Oh, he must have ate strawberries," and my mom went, "Oh, yeah, probably. You know I'm not allergic to strawberries." Oh, my parents. Ooh. They would have. My parents would have let me be molested by someone. They really would have. I would have come home and I was molested, and they would have been like,
Did you thank them for the nice time though?
Oh, Jesus Christ! I came home. That's
Remember
true.
to write a note, Freddie.
It's the only time it's ever happened in my life. I was so terrified the whole time I was there because of this guy.
Of course.
That I came home the only time in my life completely covered in these rashes. It's the only time it's ever happened to me. And my parents were just like, good.
Did you ever talk about it after that?
No, I'm starting to remember a lot of stuff these days that happened. It's not good. Ooh. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics beat Portland 128-118 at TD Garden. Peyton Pritchard a career-high 43 points. Derek White a career-high 41. And the Celtics play Philadelphia at the Garden tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 over on 105.7 WROR. Not to be outdone, the Bruins will play tonight as well. They've been
connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Download it wherever you get your apps today. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this, this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
AM at Ticketmaster.com. When that show is anyone's guess. I don't know how they're going to sell tickets to a non-dated show.
I'll update. I was just realizing that too. I'll update the copy. They didn't really announce it.
No, they didn't until I don't think that when we first started doing the copy, they had announced the date. I mean, it's going to be a summer affair.
Yeah.
Good for Newfound Glory for still touring around. I wonder how many.
July
OG
30th.
members. Okay.
NFG, baby.
Jimmy Eat World, still good live.
Jimmy Eat World's a good band.
Yeah.
The Newfound Glory, weren't they like Christian at first?
I think they were on Drive-Thru Records, and they were a Newfound Glory, and then they dropped the A.
Yeah.
They might have been.
They sing like this.
Yeah, super pop punk.
Yeah.
Newfound Glory sounds Christian-y, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like kind of a reborn, born again type of deal.
They cover The Glory of Love from the Karate Kid 2 soundtrack, and it's actually pretty good.
All right, what's going on?
Oh, a couple of the guys working at Red Lobster together. We came up with a Newfound Glory. We wrote it on a napkin. Huh. All right. Max Crosby has himself an extension with the Las Vegas Raiders. 3 years, over $100 million. What is it, 106, something like that?
106.5.
There you go. John Spytek, the GM there.
I can't think of a better person to sit up here with and reward for what he's done, but with an expectation of what's, coming. And, we want to grow this to a place that people want to be. People like Max, I mean, it's no secret. It hasn't been sunshine and roses around here forever. But when he makes a commitment to the Raiders like this and, he stands for everything Coach and I and this new staff and everybody talks about, he signs up for it. I think that speaks volumes.
91.5 guaranteed.
And now if I have this correctly, didn't they interview him while the team was bad and Max Crosby was like, I want to be here. This is where I want to be?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
I think I do. And if that's the case, then well played by him, because you are now you got rewarded for it. I mean, if he would have been, I want to go, you suck, I want to move, then sure, he would have signed a free agent contract, but not for this kind of money.
No.
His dedication and loyalty to the team, and if the team's trying to look, it's a bad team with very few good players, and if they felt that they wanted to make a statement, obviously, with this contract, he probably would have signed for a little bit less, but they wanted to make him the highest paid player on the team because of his leadership abilities and him wanting to be there. Imagine that, rewarding someone for their loyalty and dedication to team rather than just some feather floating around the league on their whim.
Yeah, and it's not just, getting paid. It's getting paid significant money. His AAV is now higher than CeeDee Lamb, Nick Bosa, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he's
higher than
the
everyone's.
highest paid non-quarterback in league history until the Bengals re-signed Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So, so if you're Myles Garrett or one of these guys, you're very happy that he signed this deal because now there's a new, obviously, the market for pass rushers is something there. But it's not even so much for his pass rushing as it is this amount of money as it is, because we've talked about this. If you brought in T. Higgins, how you better be sure that mentally he's going to be there because he's going to be making double as much as anyone on the team.
Right.
And then so this was a strategy. Max Crosby is going to be the highest paid player on our team. He's going to set the tone, like that kind of Brady thing. Brady's the guy that's going to be the leader. He's team first. He's going to take the crap. And, that's what they're doing with Max Crosby.
Well, he won't be the highest paid player if he gets the quarterback in there that he seems to really like.
I think with all the doubt and all the negativity around Aaron Rodgers, he needs to retire, things like that, he's getting cut by the Jets. I think he's going to come back and have I know he's 42 or 41.
Are you going to say MVP?
No, I think he's going to have a big year this year, and I hope it's in our town.
No, he'll Max Crosby make more money than Aaron Rodgers.
What do you think if Aaron Rodgers plays again? What do you think he would make?
30
at most. I'm not
25,
spending.
30.
Yeah, after the year he just had and his age and the injury he's coming back from, there's no way I'm spending more than that.
It would be interesting if he came back and played for Vegas, because Vegas is not making the playoffs. They might finish with one of the worst records in the league just based on their division.
The division.
Yeah, they're not going to
brutal.
win a divisional game.
Yeah, they're automatically last,
Yeah,
regardless
so-
of who their quarterback is.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and win. What the Jets win 6 games? Like, he's going to come back and win 6 games again. All right, you don't need the money. And then, by the way, coming off an Achilles surgery, fine. He got hurt during the season to stuff that wasn't his Achilles, and you could say, well, that's a shame he got hurt. He got hurt because he just stands there. He got hurt because he gets hit because he can't move and extend plays. And he's also old. So when he gets hit, he gets hurt. All of this, the excuses for this guy are really insane. No one watched him play, apparently. They watched him play like one time or watched highlights where he looked okay in the highlights. I'm telling you right now, he got hit. He wasn't getting like blindsided and getting his helmet knocked off. I mean, he would get tackled and then he would come up lame because he's old and he can't move and his body's not flexible.
Mm-hmm.
He's just all of this is the same thing. His attitude sucks. He's a diva. He's a pain in the ass. You're gonna have to take on Lazard and Adams.
Randall Cobb.
Stupid Jets. You know how much Alan Lazard made? He made like $20 million a year. It was ridiculous.
God.
It was ridiculous what they did for that guy.
My Lord.
All right, caller number 10 in the contest line, 617-931-0985. Will score a pair of tickets to see The Offspring with Jimmy Eat World in Newfound Glory this summer at the Xfinity Center. Tickets on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Sean Grandy was up thanks to a listener and Ryan Beaton. We have audio. He was interviewing Joe Mazzulla, and Grandy was in one of those magical moods where he gets apparently very strange.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got your finger on the pulse, Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that toucher or is that target?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
43 for Peyton Pritchard, 41 for Derek White, a most unlikely dynamic duo as the Celtics win again on an unforgettable night of three-point shooting for the Celtics. They hold off the Portland Trailblazers, and they get their 44th win of the year. The final score, Boston 128, Portland 118.
Thursday night game at home versus the Portland Trailblazers, where Derek White and Peyton Pritchard had 40 points apiece and shot a lot of threes. It will go down. It will be ingrained in your memory, tattooed on your brain, as Sean Grandy just said. But we got an email, all of us did, from a listener who was listening to the pregame last night on the radio station, and he said, check out Grandy. He interviewed Joe Mazzulla before the game, and here's what happened.
Here is Sean Grandy with the coach.
All right, Joe Murray, thank you. Kids, don't try this at home, especially at the start of a conversation. I'm a highly trained professional and deeply skilled, but I'm going to...
Oh, boy.
What?
What was the first time you think someone did that joke? What year was the first time someone ever did that joke? Kids, don't try this at home. I'm a highly skilled professional.
I'll go with us either. There you have it.
Who's Fred Ward?
He's been in a bunch of stuff.
He
He's
was
a character actor. He's one of those
Holes.
guys.
Is that the name of that movie?
Yes.
Summer Catch. He was the father in Summer Catch. See?
Is that one of those depressing Cusack movies?
No. Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins.
Yeah, these are all...
See? Character actor. Been in a bunch of things.
He was in Escape from Alcatraz.
He was?
Of course he was.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, you've just mentioned a bunch of movies. I don't feel bad about not seeing. Sometimes I do, but I don't with those. All right, here we go.
Here is Sean Grandy with the coach.
All right, Joe Murray, thank you. Kids, don't try this at home, especially at the start of a conversation. I'm a highly trained professional and deeply skilled, but I'm going to make an analogy between Ali Frazier and something I saw Al do on Sunday against Jokic. In the iconic first fight, Joe Frazier knocks Ali down with his left hook in the 15th round. Ali always said in his younger days he would have slipped it, but even though he saw it coming, his brain just couldn't get the message to his legs in time. There was a play in the second half Sunday where Jokic, who is clearly, as he always is, playing two steps ahead, threw this skip pass to what should have been an open shooter. Al not only has the brain to read it, he somehow still has the legs to make that play, and he was doing that all day.
All day long.
Love me. Love me. You like fighting. And look at this really, this one play, this nothing play that I remember. Look at me. I'm breaking down film like you.
I love you, and I think you know that.
Oh, you don't do that, do you, John? When you interview the coach?
No. By the time Joe Mazzulla gets to me, he is finished with media. He's all about. All right, let's finish this.
Now, which I would imagine you are, and wouldn't you?
I'm the very last person to talk to him pregame.
Yeah,
yes.
And if you're Claude Julien, you don't want to even be paid in money. You want appliances because they can't be taxed. So that's like kind of the relationships that's going on with these interviews they have to do. That is, as someone who's done a lot of interviews in my life and probably has done not maybe as on my knees and obvious as that, wanted people obviously to like me. That's a guy he interviews on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And that was a question just to go. It's not really even a question. It's just a statement of things he remembers. And
I'm a highly trained professional and deeply skilled.
Like esoteric things that he recalls. And that was just like, look, we're the same. We're the same. But the thing about not knowing that would come off as obvious to the audience is odd to me.
I lost the plot. I think I just need to hear it quicker.
And in the iconic first fight, Joe Frazier knocks Ali down with his left hook in the 15th round. Ali always said his younger days he would have slipped it, but even though he saw it coming, his brain just couldn't get the message.
No, that doesn't help. No. Let's hear it again.
Okay.
Here is Sean Grandy with the coach.
All right, Joe Murray, thank you. Kids, don't try this at home, especially at the start of a conversation. I'm a highly trained professional and deeply skilled, but I'm going to make an analogy.
Okay.
Is Mazzulla, you've had broke bread with him, is he so dumb as to fall for this technique?
I don't think either one of them are dumb. No.
I didn't say either one of them are dumb. I asked if he was dumb.
But no.
Okay. So Mazzulla would go, ugh. You think Mazzulla's going, ugh? Or do you think he feels bad because it's such an attempt to get him to like him that he doesn't want to pick on him?
I don't think Mazzulla allows himself emotion in the moment. Now, afterward, upon reflection, he may feel one way or the other, but he's very zen. He's very in the moment. He's hyper focused.
Then he'll throw the coin down and get to work.
He's affable with the midday show. Like he's pretty affable with them.
He
Like
is.
he even takes the conversation in like different non-basketball places, which I think are kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like I think Mazzulla's good on the midday show. He's certainly better than Brad Stevens was. So it's not fair to say that he is paying attention. He veers things off. I remember one time they asked him about like not playing in college, and he was pretty funny about it. You know, he can be funny, especially in those midday interviews.
Between Ali Frazier and something I saw Al do on Sunday against Jokic. In the iconic first fight, Joe Frazier knocks Ali down with his left hook in the 15th round. Ali always said in his younger days he would have slipped it, but even though he saw it coming, his brain just couldn't get the message to his legs in time. There was a play in the second half Sunday where Jokic, who is clearly, as he always is, playing 2 steps ahead, threw this skip pass to what should have been an open shooter. Al not only has the brain to read it, he somehow still has the legs to make that play, and he was doing that all day.
All day long.
So they're two different things. It's not the same. Muhammad Ali did not slip the punch. He got hit. Al did it.
Mm-hmm. But it's a real stretch. I mean, he's bringing boxing into it because we all know Mazzulla likes that stuff. So maybe he's saying Ali at Horford's age his body couldn't do what his mind was telling it to do, but Horford's body can still do what its mind is telling him to do.
Yeah. That's maybe a better way of saying it.
Right. I don't know why you
but
had
you're
to
not
do
the
it that way.
you're not the professional.
I'm highly trained professional and deeply skilled.
Yeah.
And also, how is that of any interest to your audience? Really? Your audience doesn't remember that defensive play? That's not something that anyone in your listening audience remembers.
It sounded to me like that was an entrance into how good Al was for the evening. That was a long way of setting it up.
Weren't you impressed that Al was able to do what he could do defensively against Denver? I mean, he was a big piece of that. You know, he was anticipating things and moving well. I don't even know why that's a question, but
Joe Mazzulla is not a man of many words. On the midday show, he is. It's a different kind of format. But if you just ask those questions, the interview, which is supposed to be 6 minutes, will wind up being 90 seconds.
Here's my advice. No one's going to care if it's 90 seconds. If it's 90 seconds, not one complaint is going to come into the radio station.
You're saying words, so like they don't mean anything. They're just words.
No one has tuned into the broadcast and said to any sport, maybe Belichick, because he was so mercurial, like maybe because like he was hard to pin down, like in a one-on-one. But no one would ever tune into unless they had like real bad OCD, tune into a game and go, "What? Where was the coach interview?
Where's the 3.5 minute chin wag with the coach?
Six.
Well, if it's not 6, what happens? You lose your job?
No, you have to fill in somewhere else.
You got to fill.
You got to add something to somewhere else in the pregame.
We're all going to be dead soon, and it really doesn't matter anymore.
All right,
a bit more on that.
So here is another question that Ryan pulled up. Is this from yesterday, Ryan? All right, this is, again, with Joe Mazzulla.
This team is good. This team reminds me of, the Detroits and the Orlandos, like the team that people sleep on. But
Portland?
This team is good. This team reminds me of, the Detroits and the Orlandos, like the team that people sleep on, but they have the talent, and they are a really good team.
Look at you making the segue. When we started this year, I made sure to cover opening night, what I thought would be a running theme the entire season, which is just how thin the margin is in this league. You were on that bench 3 years ago when this team went from under 500 in midseason to the finals. And that was still an odd time because COVID was lingering and Joe Johnson and C.J. Miles were at one point were wearing green. Last Wednesday we were in Detroit. We talked about how you could see that thing coming together. What the Blazers have done here I'm not sure I have ever seen. 28th in defense in the first half of the year to second in the last 20 games, including going from being the worst team defending the three.
What's going on? Just so many words. Why did he bring up Joe Johnson and...
Because those were guys who
that were on the
playing
Celtics.
While Mazzulla was the assistant coach, and they had a big turnaround. Portland has made the big turnaround. That's the comparison.
Was it? All right, you tell me what part of this is necessary is unnecessary.
This team is good. This team reminds me of, the Detroits and the Orlandos, like the team that people sleep on, but they have the talent, and they are a really good team.
So
Look
far,
at you making the segue. When we started this year,
he hasn't talked yet, Crandy.
Oh, okay. So far, it's all pertinent information.
Well, it's Mazzulla talking,
Yeah.
so anything he says is conceivably pertinent because he's the guy who's being interviewed.
Sure.
Look at you making the segue. When we started this year, I made sure to cover opening night, what I thought would be a running theme the entire season, which is just how thin the margin is in this league. You were on that bench 3 years ago when this team...
So already he said, at the beginning of the season, I made a point to say just how thin the margin was. That's unnecessary.
Went from under 500 in midseason to the finals. And that was still an odd time because COVID was lingering. And
Okay, already. So they went from low to good because COVID was lingering.
Mm-hmm.
That's unnecessary.
Joe Johnson and C.J. Miles were at one point were wearing green.
Yeah. COVID was lingering. There were people being shuttled in and out. Rosters were 20, 25 people because people were getting sick.
It was an odd time because C.J. Miles was on the team.
Mm-hmm. Joe Johnson, at the age of 41, was on the team.
Well, at least I've heard of him. Can we all remember how odd it was? The one thing that really sticks with me from COVID, other than the
Crippling
psychological pain that is still being affecting this country. If you don't think COVID has anything to do with the way things are now, I got news for you. That the divisiveness of this country really dug its heels in during COVID. That's what I think of is whatever player he just said. I already forgot his name.
C.J. Miles?
Yeah, C.J. Miles. That's what I remember the most about COVID is C.J. Miles' time on the Celtics.
Last Wednesday, we were in Detroit. We talked about how you could see that thing coming together. What the Blazers have done here, I'm not sure I have ever seen. 28th in defense in the first half of the year to second in the last 20 games, including going from being the worst team defending the three for the first half of the season to being the best team defending the three. I have never seen anything remotely like that statistically in this short a time.
Yeah, I think Chauncey Billups is a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying words, so like they don't mean anything. They're just words.
All of that punches up how good or how well Portland is playing. How much of it's a tough test tonight.
Why don't you say Portland's gone from 28th to 2nd in defense, and I've never seen that before.
It's boring just to say it that way.
So
you got to say it a different way.
So you have to. I mean, if you were at a party and someone's talking to you like this, you'd be like, "Why is this guy doing this? Why is he peacocking like this?"
Really?
Like he's just saying random facts off the top of his head. It's not a good interviewing technique. What you do is when they're talking about something, and then they say something, you go, "That's like Blanche," like I did yesterday with Forsberg. That's how you get people on your side.
That's the interview stopper.
And
if you want to wrap things up, that's how you do it.
And then he says, "Why do you like Blanche?" And then you say, "Because I used to masturbate to her." That's what. That would be fun to say to Mazzulla. Did you ever masturbate to the Golden Girls? What's the weirdest thing you ever masturbated to?
You got to do the interview one day.
I'd love to talk to Mazzulla.
Just one day.
I'd never mention basketball.
Have Sean step aside and you step in and you do the interview.
I don't want to do the interview. I don't want to go to the arena and interview him. No, I would like to interview him on the show one day if like the midday show is out.
Oh, I like that plan.
I would love to talk to Mazzulla. I think he's interesting enough where it would be fun. Because he's either going to get pissed or he's going to have fun with it.
You know what? I think we should make that happen. Hardy, you got his number.
You know what
Make
the
a
first
phone
thing
call.
would do is I would go, you know what? This Clippers team. All right, stop. I got it. So you know what this Clippers team reminds me of? It's like the 1984 NBC Thursday night lineup. You had the Cosby Show, which was pulling in a lot of people, but then afterwards, Family Ties, still a family comedy, and it did really well. But what people don't remember, at 9 o'clock, Cheers was on, but that was no hit right away. I mean, they had to stick with that. People weren't buying the Sam and Diane dynamic right away. Did you know Frasier was only supposed to be a one-off character, but Kelsey Grammer played the character with such three-dimensional depth that they realized that there was something here. And now isn't it odd that Kelsey Grammer's been playing this character for the last 40 years? It's funny how that works out. And then you had Night Court with Harry Anderson. He was a magician on the wharves of San Francisco, and that's how he got started. And I wonder how he got found. Is it at all like Andrew Wiggins? That's what I would do.
Look at you making the segue.
That's cute, like whatever. Like he's establishing a rapport.
Mm-hmm.
But that I won't knock him for. But these ideas that you're like somehow an intellectual because you remember random crap does not add up. I don't think if you sat down with Einstein, he's just throwing out little tidbits of random info that he just came across.
Anecdotal memories.
Thank you. Anecdotal memories.
That guy in the morning show.
Yeah, right. Well, listen, Sean, be better. All right, Mark Daniels is going to be on with us in just a moment.
Toucher and more of Tudger and Hardy
That's what I want on my tombstone.
on the Sports Hub.
I don't know if he'd be a very good fit for Josh's offense, to be completely honest with you. I think if Josh's offense is still what it was, and again, I think I have a hard time seeing a time where Josh's offense won't put a premium on route running, and this guy isn't a great route runner. He's a physical freak, but he's not a great route runner, so I don't know that he'd be a great fit.
We're Tudger and Hardy. John, you just had information about what they're saying about DK Metcalf.
Yeah, Diana Rossini, senior insider at The Athletic, just tweeted out about 5 minutes ago. The Seahawks, DK Metcalf asked for a trade from the team this week. The Seahawks want a first and a third round draft pick for DK Metcalf, who's entering the last year of his contract, and Metcalf in turn wants $30 million a year moving forward for an extension. To me, that takes the Patriots completely out of it if they were ever entertaining a thought of trading for Metcalf, because you're not trading the 4th overall pick for him, and your pick is probably going to be in the top half of the draft next year, so you're not trading that for him. And Seattle is not waiting 3 or 4 years for that first round pick. You're not going to get DK Metcalf.
And by the way, Seattle is now Lockett and
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
No, but Lockett's gone.
Yes.
So two of their 4 receivers are gone now. Are we positive that they would trade Metcalf? Just because he's asking for a trade doesn't mean they're going to trade him.
Well,
I mean, he wants a new contract.
This tweet says specifically the Seahawks are seeking a first and third round pick for wide receiver DK Metcalf.
That's because he's requesting a trade. The Seahawks have responded, sure, we'll trade him for a first and a third round pick, which is a ridiculous price. So, in essence, to me, that could be interpreted as we're not trading him.
Could be.
Mark Daniels has been doing a yeoman's work for Mass Live covering the Patriots. Hi, Mark.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, what's up? All right. Do you think that Seattle could get a first and a third for DK Metcalf?
That'd be really surprising to me. I read that tweet and I was like, is that like when my daughter asks for a pony for Christmas? And it's like, yeah, good luck with that. Sure, you want one. You're right. Shoot for the moon.
Yeah, where do we house them? I mean, you're talking stable fees at this point.
Right? Food? No, I can't take care of a horse. But, sure, ask for a first and a third. But, when those rumors were up yesterday, my first thought was, all right, can they, get a second-round pick and to a team that's willing to pay DK Metcalf the contract he wants, right? Because that's part of the equation. He has 1 year left in his contract. That's fine. But you don't want to give up high draft capital if he's not willing to sign a long-term extension with you. So there's a little bit more than just, who's going to offer them the most. I think the part of this, too, is DK probably has a say with who he'll sign with and who will pay him upwards of, somewhere between $30 and $40 million. So for the Patriots, the money is not an issue. If they really like DK Metcalf, they could pay him. I mean, they were willing to pay Brandon Ayuk $35 million a year last year. So, interesting. I mean, I would be shocked if the Pats were willing to offer a first and a third for DK Metcalf. I mean, I like him. Probably not the perfect fit in Josh McDaniels, but you want to make life easier for Drake May, then you seek out someone like DK Metcalf. And it doesn't hurt to ask. That's the other thing, right? The Patriots should be calling the Seahawks. They should be calling the 49ers. So, feel it out. But, yeah, first and the third is wild.
Don't you think, though, that there is a chance that DK Metcalf could come here and just go, that's it? I thank you for the money. I've had it.
Yeah.
I'm not and then it's a problem.
Downshift and say, okay, I've been paid. I'm not trying.
I mean,
anymore.
right.
Yeah.
Seattle is willing. I mean, I guess willing to trade him, which tells me that they're not in love with him. So DK Metcalf's obviously upset that he's not the number one option there anymore.
Yeah.
Which is another problem. Why is he not the number one option there? So I'm paying $30 million to a guy who's not a number one receiver on the team he's currently on. And there just seems to be a lot of variables. Am I wrong in thinking that there could be a danger that you get DK Metcalf in here? You are not the greatest team in the world, and he just kind of shuts it down.
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that money and the fact he would be the number one receiver on your team would sort of squash that. But I think when you're dealing with a, quote unquote, diva wide receiver, there's always that risk. I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, but not something we've seen a lot in New England. I'll be honest, I didn't really think about that, but I'd be more concerned that he doesn't want to come to New England and Massachusetts and more about the route running stuff with Josh McDaniel's system. But I think if you were to like pay him handsomely, and he's the top dog for Drake May over the next, 2-3 years, probably, because he'll be 27, 28, 29, give him a 3-4 year contract. You could probably keep him happy. It's in terms of playing time and targets and all that. So I think if he came to New England, he would be happy. It would just be interesting to me to hear what Josh McDaniels thought of him, and if he'd be a great fit into that system, because even though there's all this talk about Josh going to different colleges and checking out different teams last year and sort of adjusting, I still think his offense is going to be pretty much what we know. It's with wide receivers, you need to run a detailed option route tree. It's basically, all right, if the defense is playing A, B, or C, this is the route you run, A, B, or C. And you got to have the knowledge and IQ to be able to do that. And sometimes, like guys like Chad Jackson would come over to New England and they just weren't great fits. Like Chad Jackson was able to freelance, sort of run straight, in Cincinnati. That wasn't the case in New England. So I think that for me, that'd be more of the worry.
Was that the problem with Deebo Samuel? Because you look at the deal there to trade Deebo for a 5th-round pick. You're like, all right, if you're the Patriots, you obviously need a guy like that who can move around. Was that the problem?
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to a source at the Combine who's very familiar with the Patriots. It was like, he's not a fit for Josh McDaniels at all. Just like, trust me. I followed up with another source on the team, and they were just like, yeah, not an offensive, not a fit for us. And I think, too, you factor in the contract, the age, the production, just, the Pats didn't look at Deebo as sort of a good fit or a part of the solution for them. So they'll be looking elsewhere. And I think, part of the issue with trying to find wide receivers in the offseason is not a lot of good ones are available, right? I mean, Chris Godwin, if he's available, he doesn't want to return in Tampa Bay. The Patriots will be players. But there's a caveat on that, though, guys. I was told if his medicals check out, that's another part of the puzzle. Is he healthy? Because if he's healthy enough, the Patriots would pay him handsomely. But if he's not, there's a chance they could pass on him because they don't think he's healthy enough to give a big contract. And then after that, Devontae Adams, sure, he's in his 30s, though. He reportedly wants to go out west. Does he want to play with Josh McDaniels? I was told by a source the bridge wasn't burned, but then my colleague Karen Gregian was told the Pats hadn't even checked in, and that was as of Tuesday. Yeah. That's coming out of the Combine, right? I was like, well, the Pats had interest in Devontae Adams. I'm sure they would have let it be known in Indy because most teams do.
All right, I don't know what stock you put in catch radius. Okay, so there is a stat that is balls thrown within a catchable distance, the rate of which they rank a minus or plus.
I like that one.
Like if you catch a ball outside of a catch radius, it's a plus. Yeah. If you miss one in your catch radius, it's a minus. Mm-hmm. I don't know how any of you feel about this.
I'm all in.
I'm a believer on catch. I'm a believer in catch radius.
Devontae Adams, about 5 years ago, was very high plus, and now he is very low minus. He is, people remember Devontae. Listen, Devontae Adams is good. He's still fast.
Last 5 or 6 weeks with the Jets, he was fine.
Well,
right?
Did you watch the games?
No, I only know the numbers.
Are you aware of Garrett Wilson wanting to be traded? Do you know part of the reason he wanted to be traded is because Aaron Rodgers was literally force-feeding the ball to Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Because they're friends. And that's another reason why I find it interesting that someone would want Aaron Rodgers. But, Devontae Adams put up numbers because he was I think he had double the targets of anyone else on the team. It was insane.
Okay, but here's the thing, Mark. Are the Patriots in any position to not at least inquire about a player like Devontae Adams during the Combine or doing their due diligence? I mean, pretty much anyone who's out there right now, they should be talking to or about.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they need to kick the tires on all options. And the Devontae Adams thing was what Karen heard was really interesting to me. I'm like, I think it doesn't hurt to ask because I talked to a source who should know, and I was like, is this bridge burned between him and Adams and McDaniels? And I was told it wasn't, and I was even told like outside source, not Patriot source, but like, hey, that could be a possibility that Devontae Adams would play for Josh McDaniels if he was the OC. So I was like, all right, if it's still a chance, the Pats should kick the tires. But if I'm them guys, I honestly go back to San Francisco, see if Brandon Ayuk, his mindset about playing in New England has changed at all now that there's Mike Vrabel and Drake May. I think the thing about about Ayuk that would be appealing, the Patriots last year were willing to give him $35 million a year. he signed a contract less than that, right? He signed a contract worth $30 million with San Francisco. So like, if you could trade for him, you get the guy you wanted, but for a price less than you were willing to pay for. I think that would be a huge win. And considering he's coming off a knee injury, would it cost you less? Last year, it was a second-round pick plus Kendrick Bourne. So if I'm them, I go to San Francisco and really see if they wanted to trade Brandon Ayuk, because I think that would be probably the best fit, out of the names that have been floated out there.
Okay, Mark, the legal tampering period begins Monday, correct?
Correct.
What is the Patriots' strategy? All along now we've heard, and specifically because of what you talked about with the wide receivers, they're going to build through the trenches. Does that still hold for you?
Yeah, 100%. They're going to be super aggressive. They're going to remake their offensive line and their defensive line. Being in Indy at the Combine was pretty crazy to me, because people who I talked who weren't related to the Patriots were just talking about the Patriots when I told them what I did for a living. And it doesn't always happen that way. And like, Milton Williams was one of the biggest rumors that I heard, that he was connected to the Patriots. Like, they want a legit defensive tackle like Milton Williams. And people I talked to said, yeah, this is going to be a top target for the Patriots. They're going to be aggressive with that. They're going to be aggressive with Ronnie Stanley, left tackle. That's their plan A, it sounds like to me. Ronnie Stanley and Milton Williams try to get, a stud left tackle. He's 30. He's coming off a Pro Bowl year, but like, you get him for 2-3 years, you have that stud left tackle. But they could also be, I also believe they'll be looking for a right tackle. I think they'll be looking for a starting left guard. Like, they really want to add 3 veterans to the offensive line, and they want to add a pass rusher. They want to add, a legit defensive tackle. So they're really going to try to hammer that. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. I mean, we're a year removed from let's burn some cash from Gerard Mayo. Now, they tried. It didn't happen. The Patriots are more confident this time that it will happen, that, they have a plan. And as, Mike Vrabel and Elliot Wolf said, all right, this time around, if plan A doesn't work, we're going to quickly pivot to plan B. I mean, last year, I feel like they got strung along by Calvin Ridley, and there was really no plan B, right? Like, you missed out on Calvin Ridley, and like 2 weeks later, you signed KJ Osborne. It wasn't a good pivot by them. And then you draft Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. So I expect them to be busy on the first 2 days, Monday, Tuesday. There's gonna be some moves. They're very confident that, one, they'll be aggressive, but two, they'll have some success this year. And people I talked to around the league from other teams, agents, like, they all talked about how aggressive this team has been, or at least, they were talking that they were going to be. So, you got to put your money where your mouth is, though, guys.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Calvin Ridley situation. And I of course, we know it didn't work out, but, the whole explanation was it wasn't about the money. His girlfriend just wanted to live down south. It's like, no, had you come up with the money, he would have been here. It would have been fine.
You had to do Ridley last year.
You had to do something stupid to get Calvin Ridley, and they weren't willing to go there. That's the truth. And so, if you want Ronnie Stanley, he's the best left tackle, maybe you have to do something stupid. And if it's a 2-year contract, I'm fine with that. A 3-year contract, get Drake May as Pro Bowl left tackle. I'm fine with doing something stupid for a player like that.
Yep.
Okay. Calvin Ridley was, he had a pretty good year with a really, really crappy quarterback. So, yes, he probably would have done better with Drake May. It would have worked out for everyone. All right. Well, Mark Daniels, you're doing a great job over there at Mass Live. That's why we had you on today. Everyone's been reading your stuff and been really into it. So it's always a pleasure. I always like having you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, there you go. It is an anniversary of something that is kind of cool, but could be ruining society and art. But we will get into it, and we'll celebrate it in a way in just a moment.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, look, he is in his. He might be 80, so he was of the first generation that grew up with television. So obviously, people had radio. Radio went to TV. Or movie. Radio went to movies. Movies went to TV. And so there was an adjustment for all those things. Radio performers to survive. Jack Benny, he uses an example, was a vaudeville guy, and then he was a radio guy with gray hair who did kind of chutzpah jokes, and then he moved on to TV where he dyed his hair and became Jack Benny, like a much more subtler guy. He like was able to adapt. And then you had the movies, and when TV first started, it was like Lawrence Welk or it was Robert Goulet, or Johnny Cash's Variety Hour. Like there was, the idea was they would put a well-named person, and then they would just have like a dog and pony show behind them. And then, you know, it took the younger generation to go and make it into something else, and to make it what it is today, which is a medium which some people feel is superior to the movies. In fact, they don't even release good movies in the theater really anymore, unless you go to West Newton Cinema, where they ask you to pay extra. So out of charity. So the
is there a box? Is it a clear plexiglass box so you can see other people are actually putting money in?
I'm not positive, but they did have a lot of people had yard signs that said like "Give to West Newton Cinema," and I was thinking, well, why don't you buy it?
Yeah,
and then you could make it a business that people want to go to. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you like it a lot and you're going there, like, isn't that enough? Like, you're giving them your money.
I give them money. It is a relatively simple transaction. I give them money. They show me a film, and then I leave.
Yeah, like, why should I?
Sounds easy.
Why? Yeah. I know this is becoming something else, but like, why should I? You like West Newton Cinema? That's great.
Yeah.
Like, why should I? It's not like education or poor kids that can't eat at school, where there's the community needs to band together and make sure that this necessary service is done because there's underprivileged people that are suffering. This is you like art films, which is great, and I understand the importance of that, as do I, you know, on occasion. But I don't know why it's my responsibility to keep the movie theater you like around. I don't know how that's, you know, helping the community. Like, if that's something you enjoy, why don't you and your salon that you have on Tuesday nights, you know, your think tank, get together and pool your money and give it to them? Why do we have to give it to them? If I want to support them, I'll go to a movie and I'll buy popcorn and soda. I would imagine they're marked up.
Yes.
Imagine the
Makes
profit
sense.
point.
I don't know that the concessions are.
I would imagine the profit point on popcorn is fairly
And
high.
fountain soda? No.
Yeah. Like, I think when I worked at a restaurant, what we estimated the price of the actual soda in the cup, because the cup is the cost.
The cup is the cost, yeah.
What the price of the actual soda is like fractions of a penny.
Yeah.
Because you're buying a box of syrup, and then that's what the carbonated water mixes with, and a box of syrup is like, you know, like $50, and you're getting 500 sodas out of it. It's not a situation.
When I worked at Joe Angela's Pizza and Deli, you could drink all the soda you wanted, but you had to use the same cup for your entire shift.
Well, that makes sense.
The ticket prices at this West Newton Cinema, it's $14 for adults, but you know, 12 in a matinee and then 12 for kids. Is that I don't go to the movies often, Fred? Is that less or more than going to like a big chain cinema?
It's less than going to a big chain cinema.
Interesting.
But I would also counter that their expenses are way lower because the theaters are antiquated.
Yeah. I think that's what they're trying to fix with this whole foundation, is to update this whole Art Deco theater from the 1920s or 30s or whenever it is.
But it's not an Art Deco theater.
It says it is. It says
it's not.
It has Art Deco touches.
No. No.
Cyber Price is right. Sony
right,
Guts. It has Sony Guts. Sony Guts.
Here we go. Right. Yeah, thank you. That's actually an excellent point. Coolidge Corner Cinema.
Yeah.
Is a that's a historical time.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to the main theater where I saw American Hardcore and I smelled something weird and it was HR, when you go there, it's like going back to the 1920s. There's a historical value to that.
This one, it says the same. It says for nearly 90 years, West Newton Cinema has been a beloved community fixture with its Art Deco charm and deep roots in West
If I
Newton.
remember correctly, there's a place in Arlington like that, too.
Yeah, there is. It's the region.
Okay, I will defy you. I'll take you there after work today if you want. It's on my way home.
I would love to. I'm getting my old car junked today.
Very
but,
good.
We'll meet up there somewhere.
At
we'll
any
make
point.
a video.
I go to the movies there. Like, they show movies that don't show at other places.
I've been to the movies there once.
We'll do that sometime this month. Then, Fred.
It's
We'll meet and go to a movie there.
I don't doubt it's 90 years old.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't describe its I'm not kidding. I wouldn't describe its style as anything except for musty, cavernous. Like, the theaters they're not even big screens. Like, they're not like super big screens like at Coolidge Corner.
Nick, Fred and I are going to make a video at West Newton Cinema. All right? And put that on the docket for
I don't even want to crap on it. It was just, it serves its purpose and it's great, but I don't understand why we were supposed to just give them money.
And I agree
That's
with
what
you on
don't
that.
understand.
I'm curious and interested in why it can't just operate as a cinema, why it also has to be a not-for-profit and they have to ask you to donate money. Like, that's again, I'm just learning about this now. I'm curious about it.
And if it's people that believe in the arts and that there's an importance to keeping the arts, then have a fundraiser like with your group that raises money for art films. Like, it doesn't seem like a populist thing. That's my point.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like something like it shouldn't be a tax deduction, I don't think. But what do I know? You know? All right.
It's not important culturally like the NFL. Other, tax exempt entities.
Well, what if they were like, this is a big example because it's not art, but if they're like, no one likes soccer. Well, they are doing that. They're like, no one likes women's soccer. So let's pump a bunch of money into this thing in the city to make it some women's soccer stadium, which is absolutely ludicrous.
On the way. White Stadium. Yep.
Absolutely. But it's for the community. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
All right. Anyway, so the reason I bring it up is because we are now moving into a digital age, if we're not already there. And YouTube is at the forefront of it. I mean, I use it all the time. We're on it right now. I think it's terrible for art because if you create art, then it just gets put and monetized by a stranger on YouTube, and there's really no value to it. But let's go back in time. We're going to play a game where Adam and Hardy have cultivated clips, famous clips from YouTube. And John, it's up to you and I to guess where in the 20-year history
Yeah,
of
because it
YouTube.
turned 20 last month.
We're going to lean on you for this one, Fred. I have a feeling.
That's why
It was founded in February of 2005, and they posted their first video ever in April of 2005.
And it's not as much of a game. We don't have to speed through these because you're going to hear a clip and you're going to want to hear more of the clip.
Sure, but the exercise is that we're just going to it's kind of fun to guess where it was around. All right, so let's do that. Let's go back in time in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the.
Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, the Celtics didn't have Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, or Drew Holiday last night, but they did have Peyton Pritchard.
Pritchard from way back behind the line has just knocked down his 10th three of the night. We have 1:16 to go in the third quarter.
That is Sean Grandy here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Pritchard made the 10 threes on his way to a career-high 43 points in a 128-118 win over Portland at TD Garden. Derek White added 9 threes and a career-high 41 points in the win. Celtics turn right back around. They'll play Philadelphia at the Garden tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 over on 105.7 WROR. The Bruins visit Carolina tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots defensive back Alex Austin has signed his exclusive rights free agent tender. The LA Chargers have released pass rusher Joey Bosa. Seattle wide receiver DK Metcalf has asked for a trade, and Max Crosby has signed a 3-year, $106.5 million contract extension with the Raiders. And the Red Sox beat Tampa Bay 4-2 in Fort Myers yesterday. They visit Toronto and Dunedin, Florida today. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Prime Rib Dinner at the 99. Available every Friday after 4 p.m. all day Saturday and Sunday. 16 ounces of slow-roasted USDA choice prime rib with 2 sides. You gotta love the 9s. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston plays here.
Coming through the slot. Close shot. Save. Rebound. Score.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Facebook had these things where they were super cool. So Facebook was awesome because you were like, every girl I ever banged or every girl I ever dated. Like, whoa, what do they look like now? I remember where I was when Adolfo told me about Facebook. Adolfo told me about it. We were at a bar in Austin. And I remember immediately looking up my college girlfriend and finding her and being like, oh, my God. Because I hadn't talked to her in 15 years.
Was it impressive or was it disappointing? Because I'm curious to know about that.
I mean, I was so in love with her.
That, that it wouldn't matter. Yeah,
it didn't matter.
The thrill of finding her again.
To me, it was like,
sure.
So she looked good. She looked the same. So I wasn't old. Yeah,
Yeah, the 15 years between 18 and your early 30s aren't,
No, those aren't.
You got to work real hard to make those look ugly.
Yeah, I did, but she didn't. So now when I see people that I haven't seen since college or high school, I'm like, oh, we're old men. But anyway, yeah, she looked good. So and then it got to I started thinking of girls, thinking of different girls that I could look up. And then there was guys that became total losers, and that was fun to look up. And then the same thing with YouTube is that it was so cool when YouTube first came out because you were giving everyday people a chance to fill themselves, and it was this authentic weirdness. It was an authentic weirdness that was a lot of fun. Now it's a problem. But at first, it was really fun. Now it's almost like everyone thinks they have something to say and that it needs to be heard. And that's not true. There's no vetting process anymore. There used to be a time where you proved yourself and you established trust and then you got to a certain level and then then your opinion means something.
A long time ago, we entered this age of technological indulgence, where if you've got the rudimentary tools to make something and put it up, then everyone's going to see it, and it gets tougher to find the authentically weird or just the empirically good stuff because there's so much.
And it was funny. I was ready to give up on all of it, but then the Boom guys came out.
Oh, thank God.
Bring the Boom guys.
Right.
And
they, as we know, are authentic, and they just they've got a message, but they also they keep it fun. Where's my Boom guys? There we go.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. He gets 5 big booms. Boom! 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 Boom!
And my advice to them is monetize your kids and someone else's kid too for very little payoff and very little long-lasting career.
Action. 3, 2, 1. Boom!
No, we're here with Jay Kind of Funny. No, we're here with Jay Kind of Funny is first. Okay.
We're here with Jay Kind of Funny.
And this is Boom. Eric, we're here with Jay Kind of Funny. And this is...
Yeah. So, you know how people go, like, it's terrible what they do to child actors? Child actors make millions of dollars, and there's a chance that they're going to have a career. This is just for pennies. Like for a Costco endorsement. I mean, that's worth it to you? Fine.
We're Costco guys. Of course we go shopping while eating a chicken bake.
Do you think that they get together and go, this is going to last forever? Or do you think that they go, let's milk this for all it's
Maybe
worth?
not those videos, but the music will.
We bring the boom. That's what we do. We bring the boom.
That's never going away.
I think it's option B. I think there's a lot of desperation there. I think there's like, let's do this. Let's think about these 4 videos we need to make before people don't pay attention to us anymore.
See, I don't. I think that you get like a D-level agent that's like an ambulance chaser.
Man.
And they're telling you, like, I see movies, TV, like I see a lot.
So
with you guys.
I think the personality type that makes that sort of content is absolutely in line with that mindset of I'm going to be famous forever. Right? Like that whole, like that. That's what I...
Like, we're going to go to Costco as a family, and I'm going to tape us, like, doing corny stuff, and then this is going to hit, and you know, we don't have to
We're
just
gonna
do
make
this.
movies,
like,
and we're going to...
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, you know.
So they don't stop and think about this for 10 seconds.
No, I think it's easy to get swept away because, again, John, you worked as, you know, you worked in Rhode Island at a garbage station and, like, worked up. Like, I mean, when you get into, or, you know, actors, like, struggle and then they, you know, get a break and things like that.
There's no time to stop and think about it. You're too busy. You're doing the videos and the songs and the sketches and the appearances and the signing.
Appearances?
Yeah, they do all that stuff.
And a lot of very unfunny comics have built quite career. A lot of careers doing stand-up, even though their stand-up is atrocious because of YouTube. All right, so anyway.
Tezon Day, of course, Chocolate Rain there. You want to guess the year on that?
So it's 20 years old. So
20 years old as of last month, yes.
2015, or 2005. Sorry, 2005. Well, Chocolate Rain's got to be like 2007.
Very good, friend. 2007 for Tezon Day. 4 minutes, 52 seconds. I went back and listened to a lot of the song. It's oddly repetitive. You're really waiting for, you know, kind of like a chorus or a bridge or something. That never happens.
And by the way, now I follow a Instagram account that's just people getting hit with cars. So Chocolate Rain, I don't think would make much of a dent nowadays. All right. These were simpler times. Okay. Now, here is one that you have for us. We'll guess the year, Johnny.
The latest rage for kids is driving parents and entire neighborhoods crazy. It's called a whistle tip, and it's welded inside a car's muffler to make the car screechingly loud for nearly a mile. Well, tomorrow night, Oakland residents will be complaining officially to City Hall officials. Crown 4's Mark Jones has the story live in Oakland this evening. Mark.
Well, Pam, city residents have been told this noise is perfectly legal, so tomorrow they hope to start the process to change the law. Nearly every muffler shop in Oakland is installing whistler tips. It's a piece of metal welded inside the exhaust pipes that makes the car audible for almost a mile. Tell me about the whistles.
The whistles got woo!
Anybody that has it in there?
I remember that. Okay, I can almost give you the year. That had to be, I was on BCN.
Okay.
And I think we did a bracket of these, and the whistles go.
The whistles got woo!
Anybody that has it in their neighborhood's going to be totally driven crazy. It sounds like what?
Well, you want to woo woo? It's that woo woo.
Yeah.
So that's 07, 08 in there?
That's got to be 07, 08.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we threw this one as a trick question. Bub Rub and Lil Sis actually predate YouTube 2003.
Oh,
so it was an archival video that got posted in the early days of YouTube because people had just been sharing it via email and actual videotape up until that point.
Right,
This is one of the
YouTube websites. Yeah.
This is one of the news stories that went viral because it's obvious that no one cared about these whistle tips. They just liked how stupid the people sounded. It's a lot like the Alabama leprechaun. Like they went, go out and do this story, and then they went, oh my.
The whistles go woo.
Anybody that has it in their neighborhood's going to be totally driven crazy.
It sounds like what? Well, you want to woo woo. It's that woo woo. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the flows. They didn't trip off the flow masters.
That decoration, man. Just for decoration. That's it. And that's all, man. We do it for decoration.
You have it on your car?
Yeah, I got it on my car.
How is it a decoration if it makes a loud noise?
Decoration, man.
Yeah, my my home is where the heart is plaque doesn't go whoa.
The whistles go woo.
Yeah, it seems like that's a noise decoration.
It's that woo woo.
Now, here's something fascinating that Ryan, you'd never seen this before yesterday, correct? All right. So Ryan wasn't even alive, pretty much, or was barely alive by a couple of years when Bub Rub and Little Sis were first interviewed in Oakland. He heard Bub Rub doing this and said, "That reminds me of something else."
Where is that from, Fred? Because I know the answer.
Oh, is that Bruin?
No, you're warm though. You're getting there.
Well, Celtics?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
It's when the Red Sox pitcher strikes out a batter. That's what they play.
Well, that should only be used in Oakland.
They don't have a team anymore.
Yeah.
Well, now we can't use it at all. Yeah. But wow, they used
it was being installed on their car.
By the way, Little Sis, liar. She said,
"Yeah, I got it on my car."
No, they were installing it on her car as they spoke. I mean, come on, Little Sis.
And now Little Sis had a Bentley?
I think it was a Maybach.
Okay. I like when you have something welded onto a car that the welding is worth more than the actual automobile.
May have been a McLaren.
Neighbors are saying way too loud.
That's only in the morning.
Yeah, that's only in the morning.
He supposed to be up cooking breakfast or somebody, and so that's like an alarm clock. Woo woo!
Bub Rub and Little Sis were proud to show it off. Some Oakland residents will complain about the
that
noise
point of the video is the best
classic.
part of the video because he almost hits two cars going down the wrong side of the street, blows a stop sign, and they don't even really get a good sound of the whistle tip in the process.
Okay, if I gave you Bub Rub and Little Sis, how many licenses between the two of them?
0.
Driver's license, like valid driver's license.
Oh, okay, not suspended.
None.
Okay. Well,
tonight at the city council meeting. An AC Transit bus driver told us the noise is so loud you can't even hear the siren from an approaching ambulance. So far, they've caused no known accidents.
All right. Well, loosen up. All right. All right. Now the next one is going to be difficult for me because I was late to this party, but you people who've been around watching YouTube for 20 years will definitely remember this.
Overconsumption may endanger your health. 190 proof, guys. How you playing games? On your mark, get set. Should ice.
Now, that is, of course, shoe nice. And if it's 190, is that him chugging a bottle of Everclear?
Of Everclear, chugging a full bottle of Everclear that he has unboxed that was mailed to him before the video.
Okay, so I have just discovered Shoe Nice. Shoe Nice, strangely enough, his life didn't work out so great for him.
Not so well.
But
still with us, though.
But the thing about Shoe Nice videos is that, he would eat garbage or whatever. But the real funny, the real or fascinating stuff is when he would chug a bottle of liquor, but it became an exercise in believing him.
Yeah.
So the Everclear, like he opens the box for the camera
He
and then
shows you that
holds it up,
it's- yep,
holds up
taped
the
up.
bottle and like makes the cracking noise. So because none of this matters if there's any doubt that
Right.
this is Everclear. It's like a magician. Look at the deck and make sure it's not marked. He chugs a bottle. This guy. First of all, I don't think they would allow this on YouTube anymore. If you were a sensation on
Those
YouTube,
videos are taken down, so we were trying to do the stats on him, and it's such a breadcrumb trail because he's had so many accounts suspended and so many videos taken down over the years.
Why? They think this is irresponsible in some way?
According to his bio or his statistics, 210,000 subscribers at one point with over 4 million views of his videos, including the Guinness World Record for eating the most lit birthday candles in 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Which is obviously not that impressive. The Everclear thing's far more impressive. Yeah. And here's him, 20 seconds of him post drinking the bottle of Everclear.
I'm all right. All right, people, I got to stand by. Didn't want to go over 1 minute on this video. Thank you.
So within a minute, he doesn't throw up, which is really something. But what is my theory? Do any of you know about people like this in terms of after the videos are done?
What's your theory?
You do not interview them. You don't have them on for an interview. I know Tosh 2.0 did it, but he was irreverent with them and it worked.
He did it with Bub Rub, yeah.
But the thing with Shoe Nice is I made the mistake of watching a small documentary made about him by a news station, Western New York news station, in about 4 years after this video was taken. He's living in a motel.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And you know what? Drinking problem.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? You would have thought that if you can chug a bottle of Everclear and hold it down, even if it's for 30 seconds, because even if you vomit that whole bottle of Everclear up, there's still so much. I mean, alcohol immediately gets into your system. So if you're chugging, how much is in a fifth? How many ounces is that?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is that 16 ounces? Is that 2 pint glasses full? It might be even more. 20 ounces? 20 ounces of 190 proof, 16 ounces of 190 proof liquor.
25
ounces.
All right, 25 ounces. So that's, close to 2 pint. That's it's a pint glass and a half, right? 16 ounce. Pint glass and a half full of Everclear. Even if that's in your body for 45 seconds, the idea that you didn't get alcohol poisoning, I mean, you're going to get alcohol poisoning. He had to have gotten alcohol poisoning.
Of course.
You can't do that.
He's had some health issues.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you could screw up your liver just doing that one thing. Even if you had never had alcohol before, it seems like your liver could get into a shutdown mode trying to process that kind of alcohol.
Things did turn for Shoe Nice as he became more famous for being a pathological liar, and more videos became devoted to just exposing him for him not following through on doing the things he said he was going to do.
And taking money for said things.
I would be a little disappointed with his lack of follow through too, if the guy who was chugging the bottle of Everclear wasn't following through on his promises.
So,
like child support.
When did Shoe Nice debut?
That has to be legit 2005. That has to be right when YouTube started. He might be the first guy that was famous on YouTube.
Wallach?
A little later. I was going to say 2010.
You're both wrong. His YouTube channel was started by his son on April 11th, 2008.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, 2005 then, it must be the first cell phone where there was Zach Morris was the only one with one. Because was Shoe Nice the first, notorious YouTube underground celebrity?
One of them. He was the first to do that type that I remember learning about.
Yeah.
We would text each other about it all the time because it was outrageous.
Well, I would say so.
Yeah.
But think about it. Shoe Nice made the path for the Costco guys. So, I mean, you have that.
Full circle, baby.
Big justice. All right.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
All right, there's a bunch of trades going down in the NHL, and the Bruins have already made one. Ty Anderson, of course, covers the Bruins for our radio station, 98.5thesportshub.com. Let's talk to him about what he thinks is going to happen and have him talk about the Frederick trade a little bit, too.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
You've heard a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But let's talk about your sex drive, because as you get older, your testosterone lowers, and it can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. If you're like almost everyone...
brain works a little differently. Some people, maybe some older guys who have been through it, maybe they know better. Maybe younger guys think about it differently. I don't know. Depends on the individual, I guess. But when we're in here and we have a game, everyone's got to be dialed in, and we have to make sure of that. And I guess we did tonight.
Toucher and Hardy. Ty Anderson is the host of the Hockey Show Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. Of course, he covers the Bruins for the Sports Hub. Hi, Ty.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, so we just did something about YouTube. How old are you, Ty?
I am 33 years old.
All right, so you were you were a sentient being when the YouTube came around. By the way, Be Real is reminding me of a time where our first program director, Dave, spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to create something that would go viral and came up with Adolfo versus a chicken. People can't stop sharing it to this day, and I do vaguely remember this real push to create a viral video.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what the concept was of Adolfo versus a chicken, but I do remember a lot of work going into it, and it being a huge pain in the ass, and it doing nothing. Much like the syndication of this show. It became a big problem. It was a huge pain in the ass. It was never going to do anything. All right. John, you had a question real quick. Ty, you can participate in this too.
Most viewed videos ever on YouTube.
All right. So
I have the top 30 or 40 in front of me.
I was like, is that the thought? I was like, that's quite a thought.
No, it's you can participate in this. It's a
and the
top two are both music videos, Ty.
One's kind of music, kind of not, but it's silly, and the other one is just a legit music video.
Okay,
is one an SNL skit?
No.
All right, and I already guessed Gangnam Style, and that's not right.
And I said Taylor Swift something, you said no, and I guessed Bad Bunny, and you said no.
No, Gangnam Style is 10th, 5.8 billion
I think I know the music video.
Okay.
What did the fox say?
Oh, that's a good guess, Ty.
No.
Oh, the fish thing?
Baby Shark?
Baby Shark.
That's
it. Yeah.
Baby Shark, 15.65 billion views, which is almost twice as much as number 2, which is just a straight music video.
And by the way, Baby Shark, $15 off of those views. All right, go ahead, Adam. What's your guess?
Is it November Rain by Guns N' Roses?
It is not.
No.
God, that's a terrible, awful guess.
Okay,
No.
Okay.
Anaconda by Nicki Minaj.
Oh, I like that guess, but no, it's not.
Of course you do. There's a big butt
Is
in
it a current artist, somebody you can still listen to new music from and go see?
I don't. He's a 46-year-old man, so I'm thinking no, it is not. Not in the mainstream. I don't think that's true.
A 46-year-old man.
He is now. Yes.
Oh, is it
Rick
no,
Astley?
I was going to say Rick Astley, but he's older.
No,
because of the
Rick
thing.
Astley,
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
It is Despacito, Luis Fonsi.
Oh, come
on. 8.66 billion views.
I don't even know why you left that an open question. There was literally no way anyone was going to get that.
No way we were going to get that.
No.
I've never even heard of him.
Wiz Khalifa is in the top 10. See You Again. Ed Sheeran in the top 10. Shape of You. Uptown Funk. Number 9.
And we probably could have guessed that one.
Yes.
All right. So, Ty, give us your thoughts on the Trent Frederick trade.
I think it's good asset management. We could sit here and argue about should they have taken a player they viewed as a third liner in the first round all those years ago, and the answer is a resounding no. That's kind of how they are what they are right now. But look at it from the scope of right now, March 2025. They traded a player who was vastly underperforming, who was injured, and who they were not going to re-sign. And they get a second-round pick that projects somewhere in the middle of the second round. You can still get quality players at that point in the draft, in my opinion. So I think if you look at it from just the here and the now, it's a good value trade, because how many times have we been down this road, guys, where they've had a guy who's a pending UFA, the writing's on the wall, they're not going to keep him, and then they keep that player, and then that player walks for nothing in July. I think this was sort of realizing you're not going to keep this guy. You don't really want to keep this guy, so don't. Make a move now, get something for him, and go from there. So I like it from that standpoint. But big picture, 30,000 feet, you need to stop drafting guys you project as bottom sixers with first-round picks. Like that's a crazy thing to do with first-round picks, in my opinion. And so I think on the smaller level, I like it because they weren't going to retain him, and he's hurt. So why not?
Okay, now the timing of it, they did it before the deadline, like days before the deadline. Does that mean anything to you in terms of what they plan on doing until the deadline?
Yeah, I think it may mean that they didn't want to become a victim of, the prices going down necessarily between now and Friday, which we have seen happen before, where, out of the gate it costs X, Y, and Z, but then by 2:30 on Friday, you're just trying to get rid of the guy and you're getting worse offers and you're like, all right, it's either this or nothing, so let's take the crappy offer. So I think from a standpoint of getting maximum return, I think it's a good deal. I look at how they're heading down to Carolina and Florida as a sign here that more trades may come. They call up 3 guys in total. They bring an emergency recall as well. So I don't think they're done, but I do think that this was probably the easiest move they could make. Now comes the harder moves, right? Justin Brazeau would be an easier trade as well, but do you trade a Charlie Coyle? It seems like Brandon Carlo is going to stay beyond Friday's deadline, barring a last-second turn here. So they have room for more trades, and they could make more trades. But this was the easiest one of that grouping for sure.
Would you trade Brad Marchand?
I would, but how do they view it in terms of can our locker room handle that? Can our locker room handle losing a veteran? I think an underrated part of this team's struggles this year has been the multi-year exodus of veteran players. Nick Foligno, even Pat Maroon, Kevin Shattenkirk. These guys are here for 1 year. Maroon here for 3 months, basically. But those guys, they can help lead a younger locker room. And right now, there's no Charlie McAvoy, as we know. Hampus Lindholm's out, so. How do they view that? How do they view the health of their room and what they want to set for their standard for younger players moving forward? And for me, it's business-wise, trading Brad Marchand makes all the sense in the world until you remember that they're going to have to replace him in some fashion. And this team has not been good at identifying goal scoring or offensive talent. And so if you do trade him, you got to replace his production at some point. And how do you do that? That's something that this team, again, has just not been. It's not been a strong suit of theirs, is replacing guys they move on from for whatever reason. So business wise, it makes a lot of sense. But I think there's only 2 other teams he'd go to. I think it's Vegas and I think it's Colorado.
Oh, okay. Vegas, I guess, surprised me a little bit, but. Ty, you're not wrong. And years ago, I understand it was a different regime. They had problems replenishing the decor when it was either Seidenberg or you had players leaving, and they couldn't figure that portion of it out. But for Marchand, Fred kind of brought this up. If you were able to get something for him right now, who's to say you couldn't re-sign him next year? And also, how much of a concern is it really to lack that leadership in the room for the rest of this season? I mean, what's on the line? What's it really going to cost you?
No, and that's why it's such kind of a weird topic in terms of they absolutely should. But what do they value? Because at the end of the day, one thing I've learned about the Bruins is they value things a lot differently than you and I do in terms of what they put stock into. And I think sometimes they go too far in one direction where they should go this way and they go that way because of some intangible you're not really thinking of. So I'm looking at it from their point of view of why they wouldn't, right? And if they want to retain him, and they've said all year they want to retain him, and then you turn around and trade him, what kind of message does that send? That's how I'm looking at it. I think we're all in agreement that a 36-year-old who plays all situations, who's won a Stanley Cup, who is a top 40 point getter in playoff history, if you're not making the playoffs, you should trade that player because he's going to get you a pretty good haul. Look at what Claude Giroux got the Flyers a couple of years ago. A young player, a first-round pick, and a third-round pick. I'm looking at that going, oh, my goodness, yeah, if you can get that, get that. But I think the Bruins, they view him in such a different light that for them it's a much more complex, do we want to do this? Do we want to get rid of this guy? And I would wonder personally if they were to trade him, if he'd actually come back. That's a rare thing to actually have happen.
We could, with the hockey people that we've talked to, 2 names, I think, over the last 30 years, people could think of that have done that. Gotten traded away and then come immediately back. But it's not important how many. There's just not a lot. I am sensing from you, Ty, with the Trent Frederick thing, you talk about how it was an effective pick. You're talking about if you trade Marchand for future assets, how are you going to get a Marchand back? This all points to one thing: confidence in Sweeney and Neely. Are Sweeney and Neely for sure going to be the people making these picks this offseason?
I think so. I think that they have been empowered by their bosses to do what they do and to draft the way they draft and to build the team the way they build the team. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think that this year was very damaging to the overall confidence that you can or would have in the front office right now. I just think that they went in saying we got to get faster, we got to get more skilled, and they got slower and less skilled. And it's been a problem all year. You look at the roster they're putting out there most nights right now. It's not up to standards of 2024-25 NHL quality, in my opinion. I just think that this franchise's brain got just broken by Florida, where they're like, we're not going to get pushed. We're not going to get pushed around anymore. It's like, all right, you still got to score goals to win games. Like, that doesn't really matter. You want to punch a guy in the face. Awesome. You're still going to lose the game. And you've seen that with Florida this year. Like, they can't hang with those kind of teams. And, and I think that's been a huge problem. But as of right now, like, Sweeney's got another year at least on his current contract. Charlie Jacobs and Jeremy Jacobs, like, they know what they know, right? And they know Cam Neely and they know Don Sweeney. If you blow out this front office, who are you bringing in? Not like they have an extensive Rolodex of guys they can call. They're going to say, hey, Chara, go from being like a spokesman / advisor to being the GM. Like, who are they going to call?
Yeah, well, listen, that's concerning that they've been an owners in the NHL for that long and they wouldn't know who to call. Who Sweeney drafted? He didn't draft Pastrnak. He didn't draft Marchand.
Lowry. He drafted Lowry.
Take it easy.
Yeah. Mason Lowry, Matty Poitras, Brandon Carlo. Not here anymore, obviously, but Jake DeBrusk.
Yeah, they had 3 first-round picks in a row.
Charlie McAvoy is his best pick.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not great. You look at this team, like who they hit on, and it's really the 2 guys that were drafted like underdrafted.
Did he draft Swayman?
He did.
Yeah, he
did.
drafted Swayman, but he
Swayman.
also gave him this huge contract.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Pastrnak was a late first-round pick and Marchand was a second-round pick, right? Like, those are incredible picks. Everything else is just like, okay, not super.
I also think that their model in terms of how they draft and who they draft, like I think they've fallen victim to, okay, we got to get this guy in here who's going to not make too many mistakes because we're trying to win one more Stanley Cup for Bergeron and Chara and Krejci and Marchand. And so I think for a while there, they were drafting what they viewed as safe players because they need guys to come in and just be on the third line and not stick out for the wrong reasons. Like they would often pass on higher ceiling types because they wanted the safe floor because it was about winning right then and there. And I think that now you're kind of seeing like, why draft Fabian Lysell in the first round in 2021 if you're going to spend 3 years saying, no, you got to muck it up? It's like, well, that's not why you drafted him. You drafted him to score goals and to be a speed guy and a skill guy. So if you're going to spend 3 years converting him into being a penalty killer or a mucker, grinder, whatever you want to call it, it's like, that's a waste of a pick. Don't pick that kind of guy. And so I just think their model in general has been kind of flawed by years and years of trying to, keep the window open with a crowbar versus looking towards the future. And that's kind of bit them now. I think you're seeing that bill coming due and you're seeing the pipeline look the way it does because of, again, just how they drafted for so long.
Well, it should be interesting, and maybe a positive of them not getting rid of Sweeney and Neely is that they will deal at the deadline and they won't just try to protect themselves. All right.
Listen, I mean, fans are pissed right now, guys. Like,
well, yeah, I'm a fan.
Season ticket prices went up. They brought in 2 free agent additions that haven't been anything close to what they need to be for this team, and a lot of fans want to know the direction. I think the biggest, and sorry to go long here. It's just the biggest difference right now is that with the front office and the fan base will tolerate a rebuild, retool, whatever, if you give them something to sink their teeth into and say, this is the vision, this is the future. But when you keep Georgi Merkaloff, or you send him back down to Providence, and you keep Fabian Lysell in Providence, and you're bringing up Patrick Brown and Vinny Lettieri and Riley Tufte, your fans are going, okay, what are we doing here? Because there's no future that we see. We're bad, and the prices are going up. So I think that's something that they got to figure out between now and next season. The product is boring, and what is the future, and what is the goal? Because right now they just feel like a completely identityless, shapeless sort of team right now.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch, and knowing there's no reinforcements on the way.
Yeah, you feel a lot better if you knew what direction they were going in, and it's like, it's going to take a while to get there. I'm not sure of the direction right now.
I'm thinking Lysell isn't going to make it after all these years. He can't get off the third line in Providence. It's not a good sign.
No, it's not. All right, and he was like the hope, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of guys have come up since he's been around.
Yes.
All right, Ty Anderson. Great stuff. Hockey show, Saturday mornings 9 to 11. And, of course, all his writing over there on 98.5thesportshub.com. Ty, it's a pleasure.
Thanks, Ty.
And hopefully some stuff happens between now and tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Ty Anderson. We will be back in just a moment. What athlete is a joke thief? This is where we are as a society. You know, it's not enough to be in Cannonball Run for 10 seconds. You got to now be a comedian, too. We'll figure it out in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics.
I, like everyone else, am sick of Travis Kelce. I don't like the appropriation that he uses when he speaks now. He puts on an effect. And his Taylor Swift relationship has nothing to do with it. I have no feelings either way on Taylor Swift. I really don't. He's so overexposed. And, we're in a place now, when we were kids, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Klecko, they'd be in Cannonball Run for like a scene, and you go, there they are. Jim Brown would retire from football because he wasn't making any money and go into movies. Like, it was a special thing. Great men like O.J. Simpson, would go into business, into the movie industry. But now, because of the effing podcasts, you're throwing these guys into situations that they're just not good at. Joe List is a guy who's actually from this area, who's a very good stand-up comedian. I believe he has, out of all of his, I'm sure he does 11 podcasts on a regular basis. I think he has one with our friend Robert Kelly, but I can't be positive because Robert Kelly has several podcasts, and I love Robert Kelly, and I'm a big supporter of his career, but there's too many podcasts. This is Joe List on a podcast, I take it.
Yeah, it's just a clip that's been from, again, same as you. I don't know.
It's like Joe List, and again, Joe List,
another comic.
Joe List is a very, very funny stand-up comic.
Yeah.
But I'm not being cute. None of us know what podcast this is because there's just so effing many.
There's a YouTube clip sent to us by a listener. I'll give.
And by the way, you listeners are killing it because you're giving us a lot of very.
This is from Mike.
Yes, thanks, Mike.
Now I know how we cultivated all these things. All right, here we go.
Now the real issue with Taylor Swift is her piece of husband that stole my bit on Instagram. Oh! This man sees my bit, my big viral Picasso bit, does it on his show.
When do you think Pablo Picasso died?
I wouldn't even know where to start with that.
I'm pretty sure he died in 1970.
1973. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Pablo Picasso was drinking Mountain Dew watching NFL football games. How crazy is that?
Did you guys know this? Pablo Picasso, you know when he died? He died in 1973. Did you know that? I thought he died in 1380. I almost 1973. Picasso had a car. Is that unbelievable? Pablo Picasso was driving around Spain in like a Honda Civic listening to Black Sabbath on the radio. He saw 6 Super Bowls. I thought he lived next to a blacksmith. The guy's like at home watching the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs on a colored television set drinking Mountain Dew. He says Mountain Dew and NFL players.
Oh, same tags.
Same bit, same tag, but he it up. Mine's better. I say 6 Super Bowls. He says NFL games.
Well, he's
bad performing.
CTE is no joke.
Yeah, he does my bit. And
wow,
then
look that up.
Hey, what the is this? This is Joe List. Then he goes, oh, yeah, you're right. I saw it and had to share it. But you're like, so he credits me, but it's like under a comment of a comment.
Right.
And he pinned it.
Okay, wow. All right. So I was prepared to give Kelce a break that it was going to be parallel thinking and like maybe it heard Joe List and like it just came into his head. That is and that's Mark Norman, by the way, who's also very funny, is the other guy on this particular podcast. And so in respect to both of them, and List is a very funny stand-up comic. That is really bad that he like this is why he shouldn't have a pod. This is why it was so dumb to give him all that money, him and his dumb brother, for this. If you want to have a podcast, great. It's the companies that I have a problem with. So now, look what it did to Carlos Mencia. So now Mark Norman and Joe List have, especially Mark Norman, have this like base of rabid fans, right? Mm-hmm. So now you've pointed this out, and now that's good. So now all these, 20 to 45-year-old white guys are gonna get that listen to their podcast and enjoy it, who's the same audience for Travis Kelce, are gonna go, well, you're a hack, you're a thief. I mean, that is about as stolen a joke as you can.
Yeah, I was reserving judgment until I heard it, but the Mountain Dew absolutely nails it, and then Kelce cops to it, and you can't do it. I'm so hypersensitive to that now that even if I just say like a phrase that no one has ownership over, and I've done this before because the Gary Gulman bit where he does about the role playing with him and his girlfriend, and he wants to be the teacher and she's going to be the student, and how she's trying to be sexy, but all he's doing is grading her paper.
Yeah.
And he keeps describing himself as firm but fair.
Yeah,
firm
yeah.
but fair.
Yeah.
And when I'll say it to you, I used to say it to Zoe or something, but I would always say to Gary Coleman. I throw it out there. It's not even my. It's a phrase. It's not even a joke or a punchline, but I'm so aware of it that you can't do it. How does Kelsey think in any way that that's okay?
Because he's
did?
a dumb football player that doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a comedian. And I'll give you an example from yesterday. So Nick couldn't get that video of him doing the push-ups up quick enough. So he made a Nick does a great job. And so on Instagram,
Who shot that video, by the way?
Hardy did. He did an excellent job. I don't look old at all. So Nick does these push-ups, right? And a guy said, I love the show. In the comments, he goes, I love the show, but that's literally just like when Scott the engineer did push-ups on Stern for money. They had a bet, and it ended up being this bet because they didn't want to pay him, and Scott the engineer lost his mind.
Okay.
And I went, you know what? I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't plan the Nick thing. Like, as we weren't like, how many push-ups can you do as a punishment? Like, it wasn't going to be a bet. It was kind of on the fly that we thought of it. And you know what? Maybe subliminally, I remembered the Scott the engineer, but fair enough. So stuff like that, you know, you do stuff in in parallel thinking happens in comedy all the time. But you're stealing tags, the tag of the joke and stuff. And you can't do that.
Scott the engineer and Howard dididn't invent push-ups, okay?
They did a similar. They did years ago a famous similar bit. The guy's right. He did. So that kind of stuff, like I get. So, but it's not comparable to taking a premise, a setup, and the tag of a joke, the punchline, and the tag of a joke from a comedian.
Yeah, and way to like screw it up. Mountain Dew is you know the 1-2 punch of it. I think the funniest line of that joke was, "I thought he died in 1380."
Yeah. Well,
that's funny.
Well, that's the difference between a comedian and a football player that's getting $100 million to do a podcast for no reason.
Ugh.
They'll be famous forever. Don't worry. All right, Jeff Good, outside of football too, they're going to have this huge media career it's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, they'll keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely, especially the center.
Let me hear you say hell yeah.
Yeah, all right. Jeff Goodman, who everyone loves when we have on, is going to come on, and
Nice.
We'll talk about what's going on in basketball.
10 threes and scored a career-high 43 points, while White added 9 makes from distance and scored 41 for Joe Mazzulla.
They do a lot of the dirty stuff when we're fully healthy. They do a lot of the things, for the team. And to have a night like this where those two can show what they're capable of was big for us. So, we're lucky to have them, and it was a lot of fun to watch them do that.
This all happened on a night when Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, and Drew Holiday all were unavailable. It's the first time in team history they've had a pair of players score 40 or more in the same game. They host Philadelphia tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 over on 105.7 WROR. The Bruins had last night off. They visit Carolina tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots defensive back Alex Austin has signed his exclusive rights free agent tender. The LA Chargers have released pass rusher Joey Bosa. Seattle wide receiver DK Metcalf has asked the team to trade him. Max Crosby has signed a 3-year, $106.5 million contract extension with Las Vegas. And in baseball news, the Red Sox beat Tampa Bay and Fort Myers yesterday 4-2. They'll visit Toronto and Dunedin, Florida this afternoon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Rodenheiser is now offering $250 off a new water heater. Scheduled today at Rodenheiser.com for fast installation. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
This is why you need us.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Jeff, when you come on, people love you as a guest. We get a lot of good feedback for you, so you have that in your pocket, my friend.
Well, I'm glad somewhere I do because I don't get a lot of good feedback other places. So I'm glad. I'm glad you guys like me, and all is good. How about Peyton Pritchard and Derek White last night?
Oh, Fred's beside himself. He's pushed back on so many things and been wrong about so many things relating to basketball, Jeff. Fred would barely acknowledge the accomplishment earlier this morning, and he's squirming in his seat right now.
Fred, what? It's a cool story, okay? Derek White's like one of the nicest guys you will ever meet in the NBA.
Unless you're at a Colorado State game where he's in the crowd roughing people up. Okay, go ahead.
All right, well, we'll forget about that. We'll act like that never happened. Peyton Pritchard's like, you walk down the street and you walk past Peyton Pritchard and you're like, there's no way in hell that dude even plays in the NBA. And they combine for 84. I know it's the new age NBA. I know anybody can get 40 these days, but still amazing that those two, you never would have picked. If I had told you that, 5 years ago, you never would have picked in a million years those two getting 40 in a game, a real game in which Jaylen Brown was on the court. And, of course, there was no Tatum, no Porzingis, no Holiday. But cool for Pritchard to do it against Portland, too, since he's an Oregon kid.
I thought so, too. And once again,
Fred's a wet blanket.
Yeah.
Fred he obviously just hates life, period, I think.
Well,
I think Fred just hates life.
I'm a self-hating white man. What can I tell you?
It's a question and it's an issue about joy, and we really don't have the time. There are too many things we'd rather talk to you about.
Jeff, I'm a little confused on even what I said earlier about Peyton Pritchard.
That's what you didn't say, Fred. You didn't celebrate it.
I don't recall saying anything negative about
actually,
the guy.
this is actually a good point to bring up how Peyton Pritchard grew up.
So Jeff, the story. Do you know the story of Peyton Pritchard growing up, right?
Which one? What do you mean?
Okay, so his father, pulled him out of middle school, basically at the expense of really a lot of things that normal kids would do, like going to school.
Yeah, he would do dribbling drills for 2 hours.
He really, from a very young age, had him focusing entirely on basketball. Peyton shows his dribbling drill, and there's videos of his hands bleeding, and his father would bring in other basketball players to live at the house to create this competition. So, he had this very his dad was a big basketball player, right? So, he had this very unconventional childhood with his father. How that is something very, very interesting because you cover college basketball and stuff, and you know what kids when they're in the pipeline. How common is it now for kids, and at what age do elite prospects, and Peyton wasn't, but elite prospects their life is pretty much just basketball, like at the expense of almost
there's
everything
plenty.
else.
Yeah, there's plenty that don't make it, right? I mean, you hear about Peyton Pritchard and the dad who was maniacal, and Peyton made it. There's so many that do that don't make it, that I see, yelling and screaming at their kids at AAU games. And I think it's gotten a lot worse because there's more in the line now than ever, right? I mean, think about this. High school kids are making NIL. They're making like real money in 30 states or so. Right now it's allowed. College, everybody's seeing what these college kids are making NIL. Some of them making $2 million this year. And a lot of the low and mid-major players right now, the transfer portal is going to open on the 25th. And you're going to see these low and mid-major kids go in at a crazy rate because a lot of them have agents, and the agents are telling them, like, get in there, you can make real money. And by real money, you're talking, couple $100,000 all the way up to, $1 million, maybe $2 million this year. They're front loading these, and I know this isn't what you asked necessarily.
No, but it was what I was going to ask next. So you're on the right track. Go ahead.
They're front loading because of the House settlement going into effect soon. Likely, a lot of these schools are front loading the NIL payments before July, because then revenue sharing goes into effect. There's going to be a little bit of a cap potentially. So they're trying to pay so this year, we thought it was a big number last year, what these kids were getting paid, and it was. It's going to be even more this year because, like the kid from Brockton, A.J. DeBonta, going to BYU. I reported months and months ago, he could make $6-7 million this year.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
How did BYU get
anything.
that? Like, how does the BYU program get it? Like, you understand a Duke or even like a
Danny Ainge. Hey, Danny's got deep pockets. Danny's got deep pockets over
Auburn's the number one team in the country. SEC. I mean,
Bruce Pearl was paying kids long before he got the offer.
They got money at BYU, guys. They got big money at BYU, and they made a commitment when they hired this guy Kevin Young, coming over from the NBA. He almost got a job. He almost had the head job with the Brooklyn Nets. And when BYU has to hire a coach, they go with a Mormon coach no matter what. So they've got a smaller group of candidates to choose from. But he's done a great job. They've done a great job rallying behind him. And, I never thought I'd see a kid from Brockton end up at BYU. But, again, the money talks.
Yeah, and he's at prep school in Utah now, I think, too.
Yes,
so,
that's right.
That's the whole thing. All right, so when we talked to you last, we were talking about Cooper Flagg and then the two kids at Rutgers, and you were saying not so fast. There's a prospect at Rutgers who has a higher ceiling perhaps than Cooper Flagg. To my understanding, there is talk that he does have a higher ceiling still. Cooper Flagg's obviously been pretty dominant at Duke. How do you see the top prospects in this draft class? Just because people are going to start watching college basketball soon. They just are. How do you see Rutgers not going to be in it, but how do you see
they're not
these elite players? Like, how many are in the draft? Where are they playing? How are they doing?
I mean, Cooper Flagg delivered. Like, he's been every bit as good as I thought he was going to be, if not better, because, Duke's, 1B. It's Auburn and Duke have been the best teams in the country. Cooper Flagg came in as a 17-year-old freshman from Maine. Now, again, he played prep school ball, obviously, down in Montverde, Florida. But he does everything. And the most impressive thing, guys, when you watch Cooper is how he plays the game. In an era in which, these kids are making big money, like I said, NIL, you got social media, all that. This kid wants no part of all the other stuff. He just wants to ball out and be one of the guys. He has not done one single one-on-one interview this entire season because he just wants to be one of the guys. He doesn't love the attention. He plays hard every possession. He guards at the highest level as a freshman. He makes people better around him. Honestly, of all the years I've been doing this, he's one of the top 10 freshmen I've ever seen when you add in everything. Again, is he going to be Kevin Durant at the next level? No, but he's going to be a hell of a basketball player at the next level. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper were the number 2 and 3 players coming in at Rutgers. Steve Peichel didn't surround him with enough, so they're not going to make the tournament. Ace Bailey's got a huge high ceiling, but I worry about him at the next level. Will he be more of an empty numbers guy? Super talented. I have more faith in Dylan Harper, a big, strong guard, combo guard, who you know what you're going to get. VJ Edgecombe at Baylor is somebody that NBA fans should watch in the tournament. They're going to get in. He's big, athletic guard, not a great shooter, but an elite defender, good passer, has had a good year, not great year. And then there's an electric kid at Texas, Trey Johnson, a freshman. These are all freshmen. Freshmen will dominate the draft again. Trey Johnson's a scoring guard. He went for 39 last week. Again, Texas, here's the crazy part, guys. I just mentioned 5 players.
Yeah.
2 at Rutgers, won't get in. 1 at Texas, may get in. 1 at Baylor, will get in, but barely. And Cooper Flagg's the only one that's actually a lock. And that's what makes him special. He's just a winner. He's just a winner. When I would go to AU events, you'd watch this team from Maine, okay? And they're completely overmatched. A team from Maine. Maine hasn't churned out a Division I player. Forget about an elite player, an NBA player. They haven't churned out many D1 players in years since I've been doing recruiting. And this dude's got his team from Maine going up against the best AAU teams from all over the country, and they stayed together as a team from Maine the whole way, him and his brother Ace.
Yeah, and so when you oh, Jesus. So there's 3 kids on Duke that are going to go in the first round, right?
Top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Now, is Cooper...
I want you to pronounce the kid. I don't want to give it to you, but do you have the name in front of you?
I can get it.
I have
starts with
it.
K?
I'm going to make
with K?
All right.
Can you do it, Wallach?
Make him try to do it.
I'll try. Do you want to give it a shot, Fred, first?
I got to look it up because I
Okay.
can't. So you
Give it to him. Let him look at it,
Okay.
and then I want to hear him try to pronounce it.
All right.
Okay.
While we're doing that, and I will do it,
Yeah.
is Cooper Flagg like a player that could change a franchise? Is he like a Wembanyama? I know they're totally different players, but is he the kind of guy that you get? He's going to be your number one for 10 years.
So I would have said no going into the season, and now yes, I would say yes. Is he Victor? No, he's not that. But man, he's athletic. He's versatile. He shot the ball really well this year, shooting like 37-38% from 3. That was his biggest weakness. So yes, you can build around Cooper Flagg. You just got to have some other pieces that fit around Cooper Flagg. And that's what Duke has done this year. John Shire has put the right group around him. They've been dominant. Now, the ACC stinks, guys. Stinks. It's the worst the ACC's ever been.
BC's very good. Come on.
BC is not very good.
No, they're not.
No.
You got the name, Wallach?
I have
do.
the name. I have
Go
the
ahead.
name.
All
in
right,
front of
Fred
me.
goes first.
I take it we're talking about the guard that starts with the K.
Yes.
Is what we're doing. By the way, Cooper Flagg leads Duke in like every statistic.
Everything.
Right? All right, here we go. Con Knoopelpool.
Close. No. Who wants to try it next?
Con Knuppel?
Close.
Nupel.
No. It
All
is
right.
Con Knipple.
Oh, all right.
Oh, well, he should change that. He should change that. That's just he's gonna get made fun of on the
That's not
playground.
good.
Confusing.
That's
It's
not good.
confusing.
As someone whose last name is Toucher, I can tell you that it's no joy in that. Go
There's
ahead.
no future in that.
Since we're talking about college basketball in the tournament, you had a guy on your field of 68. I don't know if is he the main decision guy, but he's talking about expanding from 64 teams and expanding from 70. Is that right? They want more teams into this thing?
Yeah, of course they do. The big, the Greg Sankey of the SEC, the commissioner, has been pushing for this for a couple of years now. There's like this new transformation committee. So he wants to expand so they can get more SEC teams in. Like they don't get enough of them. Like to me, let's contract, not expand. Let's go back to 64. That was the good number. The bubble stinks every year.
Yep.
People are going to complain whether it's 64, 68, 96. It doesn't matter. Coaches, teams are going to complain if they get left out. And to me, what makes the NCAA tournament so special is the fact that you're not letting just anybody in. Don't equate it to the bowl, college football and the bowl games. Let's face it, nobody cares about most of these bowl games other than the gamblers. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
the NCAA tournament is awesome. Don't expand it. Don't water it down. I'm 68. I'm okay with. I don't love it. I don't really care generally about a couple of those games in the first 4 every year. But I don't want to see, like Arkansas even this year. John Calipari, first year at Arkansas, they've had so many opportunities to get in. Don't complain to me if you're left out of this field of 68. You've gone like 4-10 in meaningful games this season.
Yeah.
So, like, enough of the whining and complaining. So, they may expand. If they do, they're probably going to go to 72 or 76. But I hope they don't. But I think they're going to.
You know what's most annoying about it is not being able to have a consensus on what the first round is.
Well, Jay Billis had a good point about it. He's like, he was asked about it, and he goes, "Who cares? Because no one's going to watch it. like no one watches like you just said, Jeff. No one watches those playing games. You could make 500 playing games, and no one's going to care.
First round is Tuesday night. No, the first round is Thursday.
Yeah, and that's
you can't even fill it in your bracket. You can't fill it in.
That's what he said. He said as soon as they only care. People care about their brackets. They don't care about these games.
Right.
None of these teams are going to win the championship. Just if you make it 100. You're just wasting everyone's time.
There's been one play-in team, like VCU made the Final Four.
Yes,
they had a play-in.
they did.
But that was the only one. That was Shaka Smart. That was the only time any teams made a run.
So everybody uses that. Everybody uses that as reasoning why they should. Oh, it's great, the first 4. And like, do you even care? Even if they let's say they put North Carolina against Arkansas, which is like two not blue bloods, but like Calipari against a blue blood at Carolina. Right. Even that one. I'm like, do I really care that much? To me, my idea, if they do expand, is do a play-in with the last 4 high majors that didn't make it, the Arkansas, the Carolinas, or whatever, against the last 4 mids or lows that didn't make it. Maybe Drake, if they don't make it this year, somebody like that. UC San Diego, who's had a hell of a year, who, if they don't win their conference tournament, they probably won't get in. Because the argument is always who you're taking out of the crappy high majors who had every opportunity, and then the low majors who nobody wants to schedule, nobody will play them because there's nothing to be gained by playing them. Let them fight it out and see who's better.
Yeah. Well, good stuff as always. Jeff Goodman, Field to 68. Check him out.
Con Knipple, Fred.
On Con Knipple.
Knipple.
I listen. That's German for what's on your chest.
Yeah.
Jeff Goodman. Thank you so much for the time, sir.
Love you guys.
See you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff Goodman. I could talk about it all day.
No, 3. There are going to be 3 Duke kids in the top 10. That center is also going to go in the top 10.
Common, whatever his name is.
Right.
I've only watched Duke a little bit this year, but everyone will be watching college basketball. I've enjoyed this season. I'll tell you, the NIL has got at least kids playing in it. I mean, they'll come out after their freshman year, but at least it's not all G League kids, or not G League, but the Ignite and
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.
bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hi, we're Toucher and Hardy. If you want to email us, you can at 985thesportshub.com. You can find all our email addresses. If you want to see all these videos we're talking about, like Nick, who couldn't get his big victory with his push-ups up fast enough, even though I do harbor some resentment to Billy Jaffe, who in front of Hardy and I demonstrated what a push-up was, and then he was the sole judge of the push-ups and didn't hold the same standard to Nicholas. Now, Nicholas winning is a triumph for everyone, and I'm proud of Nicholas. And I'm not trying to diminish his feat. I want it to be very clear that I am only annoyed with Jaffe.
Okay, so number one, we'll address your resentments at some point in a more formal setting. Okay.
It's already been done.
I think it needs to be redone.
It's not everyone you're annoyed by.
No, I don't think that resentment thing was done to its full extent, because it's also supposed to, improve things going forward. That's number one. Everyone benefited from Nick completing the push-up thing. Yes, I was supposed to benefit monetarily, and so far have, but not to the extent I was supposed to.
So you're owed.
Yeah.
How much?
Yes.
How much are you owed?
Another 20, another double sawbuck.
That's right. There were 2-to-1 odds. That's right.
Yeah.
What do you a little light?
I mean, there's other things I can do instead of the money.
Okay, well, that's...
Hey, man.
Yeah, well...
What you want?
What you
want? I'll be your lady.
We'll get the barter system going, sure.
What you want him to do?
I want you to get a pack of Kool-Aid.
Not me. He gonna get it. I'm not going to my commissary.
I don't want it from Wallach. I want it from you.
You're the one who owes, Jazz Wallach.
Don't act like you've never had to do this before.
Baby, but then I became the man behind the man. And you can be the man behind this man.
There we go.
Right. All right. Hey, guys. A great new picture. It is especially flattering to Fred. There is a new photo up. The new photo is up. I don't know if it's up on the website. That could take years.
That might take a while, but we do have it in the other important spots. Where is it, Nicholas? YouTube? YouTube, podcasts, social media.
Nice. Nice job, Nick.
So the new photo is up. Nick is taking care of it. I mean, getting it up on 98.5 The Sports Hub, it could be a slow-moving bus. I've not done with the email yet, John. You can put your finger down.
Okay.
We played Joe List talking about how Kelsey directly ripped off one of his jokes. And he says, I feel like Kelsey doesn't understand the difference between quoting a movie with friends and outright stealing a joke. I think you guys do a fantastic job of citing your source. It looks really dumb when you try to pass off a joke as your own, and it is 100% what he was trying to do. It's more evidence of the new wave of stealing content and reposting. Unfortunately, creativity is dying. Like, you guys keep it fresh and creative. Fantastic show, except for Johnny's. It's his loyal to his religion. Now, yeah, that's a big issue I have with the Kelseys. Like, that's why it kind of bothers me. And I'm glad it's bothering other people now, too, is that these media companies are going to end up destroying themselves because they're just so dumb. The Kelsey brothers are as famous as they're ever going to be. The trajectory of the Kelsey brothers is not going to go up. It is going to go down. Now, if you want to stick them in a movie for 10 seconds, or you want to pop them on a pre- or post-game show, God bless you. They're really good at that. But the idea of them attempting anything comedic for any length of time is a total joke. And I would... Jason Kelsey's wife, according to what you guys told me, at one point had the most downloaded podcast in the world. It's garbage. And she even knows it's garbage. She doesn't sit around thinking that she's talented. She's smart because she goes, I guess I'll make money because this is what's happening. And so she took advantage of it. Good for her. But it's unlistenable. And that is my issue. It's not, if you have a podcast and you enjoy doing it, that's fine. Joe Rogan and Mark Maron, those guys, were OG guys, and they get all the money they deserve. Some podcasts like Once Upon a Time in the Valley, Once Upon a Time at Bennington College are fantastically produced. They're doing something you could not do on a radio. But I told Hardy my idea for satellite radio that could save it, but I'm not going to share it with the audience.
No, good. Okay. Well, we'll keep that close to the
Okay, I'll
vest.
share it right now. Satellite radio is doing this. They are. I think Stern's going to retire at the end of the year. That's what I predict, and it's really kind of sad because it's like such an era. But instead of him, they gave Smartless Jason Bateman, the gay guy from Will and Grace. I don't mean to diminish him. I could not tell you his name if you put him in a gun to my head. And the way he's known is he was the gay friend on Will and Grace. And then Will Arnett. And they do a podcast.
Sean Hayes.
Okay, they do an interview show, and it's very popular. So Sirius dumped all this money into it, thinking that, well, people are now going to subscribe to hear it. No, they're not. Here's what they should do. What is their advantage? They're live. That's what other places don't do. You can have live programming. So what if you took the best talent from every top 10 market and you made a New York station, an LA station, a Boston station, Dallas station, and you because look, if you're paying $100 million to Smartless, for less money, you could fill all the time slots of one station for each market, and you poach just like you did Stern. You poach Stern, who is a radio guy, and he made you successful. Stern is the reason you were successful. What if you took that model and you kept it regional? You could destroy radio. Because then there's no reason in the top 10 market to even listen to the radio because the top talent is gone. Thank you.
They're not going to do it, though.
No.
Okay.
They're not. They're going to throw a bunch of money to have a press release that says Jason Bateman's on the network. And I can tell you this. My ex-wife loves Smartless. There's no way she's subscribing to Sirius Satellite Radio to get it.
No.
It was fun when you could get it on your phone by pressing a button.
Right.
She's not going to call a service up and get it and then remember what channel it's on. Get out of here with that. So they're going to go bankrupt, just like everyone else. Go ahead. I should run everything.
And it's fun to listen to maybe once a week.
Yeah.
You're not going to listen to that every day.
And it will never get old because because the format's entirely the same every single day.
Don't get it. Get your Bub Rub little sis guy ready here, Fred, because I have an email here from Ben.
I got rid of it already. I apologize. Oh, my God. I can't have my Vox Pro cluttered.
You deleted it?
Yeah, I do. Like after we play stuff that I don't think we're going to play again. My bad.
You just need the reporter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't know this was coming. The live radio guys.
Yeah, right?
You're not making this any easier.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
This guy says that the reporter from and we were doing this earlier today, celebrating the anniversary of YouTube. Last month it turned 20 years old. That we played Bub Rub and Little Sis, which actually predated the start of YouTube. But Ben said that the reporter interviewing the people with the whistles inside the vehicles sounds just like the cuck that attacked Fred. So we have the cuck that attacked you.
You want the reporter audio?
A couple of morons in Boston who host a morning radio show hung up on Carolina Hurricanes beat writer Chip Alexander.
Okay.
Fred Toucher is a nut job.
Okay.
All right.
Now, let me roll some of this until we get to the reporter.
The latest rage for kids is driving parents and entire neighborhoods crazy. It's called a whistle tip, and it's welded inside a car's muffler.
She sounds like she had a couple of white wine spritzers at lunch, doesn't she?
Well, she's doing a story on whistle tips. She probably needs something to get through.
Officially to City Hall officials, Crown Force Mark Jones has the story live in Oakland this evening. Mark.
Well, Pam, city residents have been told this noise is perfectly legal, so tomorrow they hope to start the process to change the law.
A couple of dudes from up north were making fun of Southerners.
Not really. Wait, every time you play that, the weirder it seems to me.
And Fred Toucher's a mouth-breathing jackass and a liar.
What? I don't even know you.
Fred Toucher is a nut job.
Okay. Well, that's true. Because I have been to where?
Which?
The
Puzzle Factory.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fred called Julian. He demanded to know who shared his number and then started dropping F-bombs and cussing Julian out.
Because Julian called me, and I called him back. And I said, who gave you my number? And he wouldn't tell me. And so I said, F you. Isn't that that seems...
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. What was I supposed to say? Hi. By the way, you called Rick Radzik, my program director, 11 times and left messages yelling at him.
Yeah.
Like, how do you want me to react to that, stupid?
How did he find out that Rick was the program director, and how did he get Rick's number?
Well, he got Rick's number from Cedric Maxwell.
Oh, that's right.
We can remind him of that when we talk to him tomorrow.
So this maniac, I think it all started with him saying something about me on the air, and someone told us, and we pulled the audio, and I made fun of him.
Yes.
And so this maniac, he hears that I made fun of him. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him.
I was at dinner with my wife and a friend.
So this drove him crazy because I'm like, that sounds like you're a cuckold that took a guy out to convince him to bang your wife in front of you.
I was at dinner with my wife and a friend.
And you have to admit that's what it sounds like. I mean, the friend, I don't know.
That was first guessing when we played it.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That
I mean,
wasn't
everyone
like
thought
back at
that.
it.
But
Yeah.
it's a joke, and I don't know the guy, and so whatever. So he loses his mind and starts going bananas. And when he hears that I said that, he's like, this attacking my family nonsense like that, like, I'll get out of here. And like, and he calls Rick 11 times and leaves these messages.
The story is he was on the air, and during commercial breaks, he would call Rick. And then he'd go back on the air and then call Rick during his next commercial break.
Because he's a lunatic. I've never in my life even considered calling a program director to complain about an on-air talent. That's
and Fred
insane.
Toucher's a mouth-breathing jackass and a liar.
Fine, but you don't know that for sure.
Fred Toucher is a nut job.
And
Now
I
we
don't,
know.
and that's fine. But I mean, it was funny. I mean, you sound like a cuckold. You sound like you rented a motel room that night, and that you put a chair in the corner and you set it all up, and then you are trying to seduce this gentleman into agreeing to let you watch. That's what it sounds like to me.
I was at dinner with my wife and a friend.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Everyone thinks that when they hear that. All right.
Quick email here from Dave. Years ago, used to go see Dane Cook whenever we could. Yes, I know. A few times the lineup was in this order: Bobby Kelly, Gary Goldman, and then Dane Cook.
Yeah, that was the tour.
That was the Tourgasm, yeah. I
Shows
remember
were always very
Yeah.
good. Ticket was like $20. If they were to run that show back in 2025, same three people, what would the order of appearance be, and what would be the ticket price?
Dane Cook would still headline,
Yeah.
but the problem is Dane. I guess Cook is he didn't tell jokes, but I guess he killed. Like he was the first guy of that era to do arenas. He was the only guy. It was Dice and then him doing these arenas. Then Chris Rock. I guess the crowd would go nuts, so it worked. But here's the problem: if he did it now, Dane Cook would have to be the headliner because he's the most famous out of the both of them. But Bob Kelly and Goldman at this point are such better comics that by the time Dane Cook came out, it would be the difference would be so obvious. At the time, Dane Cook transcended comedy. It was really just his presence on the stage that got everyone excited.
Has he even toured in the last 5 or 10
No,
years?
he goes on podcasts and complains, and they come up on my YouTube.
Okay, because those two guys have been working, Bobby Kelly and Gary Goldman. They tour constantly.
Yeah, look, Dane Cook's had a real tough time of it. His brother stole a bunch of his money. He's in jail. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I think it hurt him a great deal when Louis C.K. and stuff came after him. I just think it damaged him, and who can blame him? Who can blame him? But Bobby Kelly and Goldman would just destroy in a way that he would get up on stage and everyone would lose their mind. But a half an hour into his set, people would be like,
"Yeah,
all right, where's the joke?" All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. us. Boston pride runs deep. I'm a Bostonian! This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5, the Sports Hub. Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Dutcher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on
his cube light
See,
over
look
there.
at that. Look at that. See that?
They know where
See
the
that,
money
Fred?
is. They
See
know.
that?
I know. They give you the big
See,
things.
it's changing colors now.
They know what people want to look at.
Yeah, so we're going to leave that right here for the last segment.
Okay.
There
I
you
owe
go.
I owe Hardy $20, by the way.
Yes.
I have
Do
to
you
remember
have
that.
it?
I have $7 in my wallet. I had 27 yesterday.
That's not going to fly with the Midwestern dad over there. Not a chance.
Oh, carrying cash? How much cash do you carry?
I don't even know. Let's see. I have no idea.
I use cash for one thing, and
Yeah.
it's singles, and you know what that's for. So
I have $23.
I put money in a basket.
I have $23
twice a
in
week.
my wallet.
Do you
I
know
need
what?
singles is what I need.
Do you know what drives me crazy? My wife never knows how much cash she has, and that's like, I don't have enough right now. Do you have any cash? I don't know is the answer. And then she'll go into her wallet, and it's all like folded up in different denominations in different amounts, and she might have $1, she might have 200. She doesn't know, and it's all like scattered. It drives me absolutely insane.
Well, you pay
It's
with
scattered
everything.
about her purse?
No,
Like, not
it's
even
all in the
wallet?
same wallet, but it's
Oh.
like there's a couple of singles folded together, and there'll be 3 crisp
yeah, you got-
20s
you
put
gotta
together.
organize. Yeah, I'm
like
not about that
on
either.
the other side of the license, it's like no, you got to go denominations, as Kramer says, big bill on the outside.
Yeah,
It's a five.
I can show you right now that even with $7 in my wallet, it is or $6. It's neatly organized.
Yeah.
The 5's on top.
Yeah, small bill on the outside, and then they get bigger. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And we can't get rid of that wallet, man.
It's so big. It looks cool, but it
does not look. It's the furthest thing from look cool.
The design of it looks cool. The stripe on it looks cool, but it's very fat. It is.
Yeah, it's like saying the design on your overalls is really cool. They're overalls.
Well,
you need to throw
But
them
if you
away.
didn't know they were going to be overalls and you saw the design and bought them, it can be excused.
I forgot that Post Malone was a country guy now, so I was initially confused.
He's a white rapper, so just lean on he's going to be a country guy.
Yeah, that he was doing his big-ass stadium tour, but now there is a second part to it. Post Malone's Travelin' Tailgate. This will be at select dates where there will be – these guys are you want to talk about brilliant business people. Food, live music. You can win a Harley-Davidson, exclusive tailgate merch, so merch that is separate from the concert. See, the
I know
tailgate.
of this. Can I tell you what I did? So to buy tickets to Kendrick Lamar and SZA in Detroit at Ford Field, a stadium, in order to get the seats I have, which are like they're not on the floor, but they're good seats, I had to buy the VIP package, which indeed gives you exclusive VIP merch, because if you have a daughter and you go to a concert, you will be spending Olivia Rodrigo. The line was maybe 500 yards long. Now it's precision personified. There's 5 people taking credit cards and moving.
Yeah. It's like a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's cruising. Like, so I have to give them props for that. But as much as my daughter is going to the concert for the concert, she almost exclusively wears the merchandise that she gets from these concerts. So a Boogie with the Hoodie. You have Olivia Rodrigo.
Did she get a hoodie from a Boogie with the Hoodie?
She did. And it only cost me $5,000.
Guess how much does a hoodie cost there?
Seriously? Like $100?
Okay.
Like maybe $120?
I was going to say 140 or 120.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. Dude. It's so
ICP
much
used
money.
to sell $200 hockey jerseys at their shows, and they gave up money from their albums just to get 100% of their merch.
Can I tell you one of the great things about not drinking? And there are a couple. There are some things you miss, but there are some advantages. Is that I will leave a Celtics game, for instance, like I did on Sunday, and I'll have like a $20 charge on my credit card because I spent $20 on concessions.
Yeah.
When you're drinking it, that's like a $300 tab. So I will give that in the not drinking pile.
Small as it is.
As small as it is the only advantages. There's weight loss, and then when you go to a game, the bill is a lot smaller. All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye.